In the pits, the leading Audi, Marcel Fessler, is coaxed out of the seat, and it will be full service for this car. And that is what, Jeremy, in terms of stint length?
23 laps this time, so the longest stint that any of the Audis has done thus far. Is 21 laps for the first of 20 laps, 23 for the second one actually, and then the third one was slightly corrupted because there was a full course caution in there, but 23 laps again for this stint. The number
Ollie,
2
AS on 12.
Its last time did a 22 lap green flag run, so the number
Ollie,
1 car
AS on 12. Copy.
for the last two full stints have done 23 laps under green flag conditions. And McNish did lose a lap during that while making that penalty stop.
He's just come across the 9 now, Jeremy, and to the right of this number 1 Audi, McNish is going to be coming into turn 1 roundabout now. He may just have got back through ahead. Yes, he has, because that is to turn 3. Smash and pick up, guys. Thank you very much indeed. So McNish now back on the tail end of the lead lap, but for that stop and 60 hold for contact with, we heard, a Corvette, but there was definitely contact with a PC. Let's head down to the pit lane and Chris Neville.
Well, that was a pretty good stop by the Audi team. Everything went well, except there was a little problem at the right rear, so about 2 seconds longer to change the tires than we'd normally see for that Audi. And then Jarvis did stall the car exiting pit lane. This young man starting out a great 2013, coming off his first race and first win in the U.S. at the Rolex 24. He's hoping to back it up and go 2 for 2 this year with a win here. So this young Audi driver really doing a great job over on U.S. soil.
29 years old now, Oliver Jarvis, but a former star in Formula 3. He won the Macau Grand Prix back in 2007, and he's certainly made a career for himself since joining Audi, 3 years ago. He's done a DTM for the last few seasons.
Yeah, but he's heart's in sports car racing, of course it is. He's a sensible lad. And Matteo Malocelli is back in the lead thanks to better fuel mileage. And the reason that he's out there is the 56 pitted, Kelly.
And a clean stop it was for the 56 BMW Z4. Joey Hand hitting his marks. It was fuel and tires, those new Michelins. And this is his sister car, the 55. Jorg Mueller brought it in, but they've made a driver change. I believe it was Maxime Martin that got behind the wheel. You saw a little bit of trouble trying to close that driver's side door there, but Jorg got it done as they move on to those Michelin tires. Michelin, a new partner for BMW this year, and another smooth, clean stop. The 55 gets out just ahead of the 007.
Very relaxed stop. Out they go. And the Malocelli-driven 62 Ferrari then, proving what we've seen in the last season or so, Jeremy, from the 458, that it can turn very reasonable lap times and still have good fuel mileage, and that's what's put it in the lead. Here's someone else who's in a new situation. You heard about new tyres for BMW in a new car. The number is familiar, 23. It's got red on it, yeah, sort of. But this is Alex Job racing with a Ferrari, red and white, into the pit lane. And Kelly is down with that Ferrari in the Alex Job battery tender pit lane.
The number 23, Alex Job racing Ferrari in. It was Bill Sweedler, but he turned over driving duties to Lee Keane. Now, these guys couldn't be more excited about this new Ferrari program. Alex Job has just had a grin on his face ear to ear since they started. The challenge right now with these Yokohama tires that were developed for the Lotus, and they made the switch to the Ferrari so late that they're just using those same tires. They said they've worked amazingly well. The tire wear, they're so consistent. Over 47 laps during testing. They only lost 4/10 of a second off their quickest lap. So while they may not have the outright speed of some of the other GT cars, they hope that tire wear will help get them up to the top of the class.
That's a remarkable story. I hadn't realised that, Jeremy, actually. So good reporting there by Kelly Stavis down in the pit lane.
Good stint there by Bill Sweedler. The car running solidly on the lead lap in GT in this very, very competitive class. We saw the number 56 BMW and the number 91 Viper of Dominic Farnbacher, they made a pit stop about 3 laps ago, so the other guy is now cycling through. The Ferrari hasn't yet been in though, has it? So that's going to be due any time now.
The Malicelli car, yeah, absolutely.
And again, that's getting better fuel mileage. On the first stint of the race, the Ferrari went 1 more lap than the BMW, 2 more laps than the Corvette. I think we should expect that to see that car onto the pit lane in the next lap or 2.
Okay. That is on board Alex Jobs, 23, and he's off. And has hit the wall. And that is a disaster then. On the outlap, presumably, for the 23 car and Lee Keane, and that is unusual for Lee. He's normally a very steady pilot. Brings the car in on cue. Here comes Matteo Malicelli in the class leading 62 Risi Competizione Ferrari 458 Italia. This is a 2013 car, some detail aerodynamic changes. The young Malicelli gets out. What a smashing lad he is.
Yeah, Matteo Malicelli having a great first run here. This is his first time running at the Sebring 12-hour, also his first time in a Ferrari 458, so he's really loving the car this weekend. And I checked with the team. We saw Olivier Beretta starting to fall back during his stint. The team said nothing wrong with the car. Olivier was just a couple seconds off the pace as these other 2 drivers, Matteo and also Jimmy Bruni. So Bruni in for his second stint right now, just finishing up tire change, fuel, and the Ferrari will be back out.
Problem with the wheel guns on the far side, was it? Looks like they had to take a slightly longer time.
Yeah, cost them a few seconds there. Here comes the BMW. That is the Joey Hand car that I think now will retake the lead in.
This is the battle for position because the Viper is right up the tailpipes of the BMW, Farnbacher in hand.
Yep. This is the same battle that was continuing before the round of pit stops. These two were both on pit lane about 4 laps ago.
And Lee Keane's just ahead of them, having recovered from that spin. No harm to the car, so effectively no foul other than a few tenths of a second or seconds lost.
Yeah, Gary cost him a lap, I think.
Really? So Malicelli's going to come out behind these two. Will he have got out in front of the 007 Aston Martin?
Yeah, Billy Johnson driving that car, doing a super stint in the 007 Aston.
Well, when Mark Goosens got out of the Viper earlier, I talked to him about the handling on that car, and he said the handling is very good early in the stint, but later in the stint, the back tire's definitely starting to get some wear. So after he got out of the car, took his helmet off, he jumped on the radio to talk to the drivers that were getting in and said, hey guys, what I figured out is you're still able to get a good lap time. You just really got to relax your hands as you're exiting the corner and going to power. Real light foot on the power because you don't want to burn up those rear tires.
This is coming on the Twitter feed. Mitch Legg has said, when might we see McLaren at Sebring? Maybe as soon as 2014? Well, there's no reason why not if they build a car to the Grand Am GT specs, of course. Grand Am GT running as a separate category here next year, along with the GT Le Mans category, which is what this category we're looking at now will be renamed. Could, of course, just build a GT car. You are allowed carbon monocoque cars in GT now. That was a change of the rules requested by McLaren, as Joey Hans just had to dab the brakes there as Lee Keane got in front of him in the Ferrari down towards the first corner. Farnbacher makes it 3 wide into turn 1. Oh, look away now if you're of nervous disposition. That could have been a very expensive BMW Viper and Ferrari incident. Oh, we could have been picking bits up for weeks after that. Great driving by everybody. Joey Hand just hampered slightly coming out of turn 17 and across the line. Farnbacher saw the chance, went down the inside and very sensibly decided not to poke the very long snout of the SRT Viper down along the inside of the BMW Z4. And Lee Keane saw that all unfolding to his left. He must have been holding his breath as well, because he was on the outside. If that had all gone wrong, he was going to get collected possibly by 2 cars.
Yeah, that could have been very, very ugly indeed. But what a battle this is. at the front of the class in GT, and the Viper, I think, has yet led a lap in GT competition, but it's that close. You can see these two cars directly in front of us, and look at the Yokohama car is staying right with him, isn't it? Lee Keen is right with these two, and seems to be he's tucked in behind. Now they got past him, he's going to tuck in there and see what he can learn.
See, just one lap off the lead there, Lee, as he dropped 2 back now. No, it's just 1 lap off the lead, isn't it? So that wasn't a great outcome for him. Further back, it will be Jimmy Bruni who is chasing these 2 guys down once he gets up to speed in the 62 EC Competizione Ferrari. As through comes the Rebellion Racing Toyota Lola. Now, can the Viper get a little bit of a tour down the front straight from the prototype? As Joey Hand leads Sebring for BMW from the Michelin aerial cam across the line on the historic concrete. If those concrete blocks could talk, the action that they have seen in terms of motor racing excitement. Let's head back down through the field to the P2 leader, who is Scott Sharp, just going through on the inside of Mirko Schultzis there on the 81 Prototype Challenge, the Continental Tires Prototype Challenge this year. And just there, pulling out, the red and white Greaves car is actually the 2nd place in P2, so the gap between 1st and 2nd is Scott Sharp drops off the circuit. He's in trouble. The leader's in trouble in P2. No second invitation required for Eric Lux, and that's a new lead in P2, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's been a great battle all the way through this race so far. We haven't seen much of the Greaves Motorsports car perhaps, but the number 41 car there.
Well done, Eric. 6 laps left in the stint. P1 at the moment.
All the way through. Chris Neville is in the pit lane.
I checked in with the team just a few minutes ago as they were leading, and they said the car has really run flawlessly. Their one concern is these warm temperatures. They started out the day on soft tires. On the last stop, they did move over to a harder compound tire, so maybe that's why we're seeing Scott Sharp now being able to put down the laps that he was putting down earlier today.
On board the number 30 GTC car. Now, a bit of a change around there, hasn't there? Because it's now the 68 GTC that's leading, Jeremy.
Yeah, I think we would with.
Are we still cycling through?
I think so. Because number 10 car was leading a little while ago, and Bob Fairder has just handed over that car to Michael Avenatti, the team, one of the team principals there at. But involved in that team, and it's his car that the number 10 car is using with Dempsey Del Piero Racing. Carlos de Quesada then is leading the class now, as you say, in that number 68 TRG Porsche. Mike Headland in 2nd place. He's taken over, that was the number 11 car that Jan Halen did such a great job with in the early stages.
Now, there is the 4 car back in the pits. They've still got this electrical problem. You can see that the top part of the dash on the left-hand side, the driver's side, is not being put back on. They've been told they must fix the tail lights. You can't go out without lights on in the American Le Mans Series. And were they on, Jeremy? Did they look on to you? So Ollie Gavin now having dropped down to 8th position.
Yeah.
Got it back. It's good.
Clips are costing another lap here. They've already 1 lap down to the leaders in GT.
Oh,
it's so competitive, this class.
It's working.
Yeah,
At least the shift lights are. And can we see a number in there? I think we can. Is that, say, 3 and then up to 4? I'm happy with that. Electrical problem solved. What we're not getting is those blue lights that we had either side of the dashboard that we thought was wheel slip lights. But that doesn't seem to be working at the moment, but that's not hampering Ollie's progress. You can see the big 8-inch screen in front of him on the transmission tunnel. That is his rear camera, which also has the radar on it. That's a much happier sounding Chevy V8. And a much happier sounding Ollie Gavin as well.
Yeah, see what sort of pace he can find now and maybe catch up some of the ground that's been lost. It's going to be awfully tough to make up this lost ground. Here is that battle continuing in GT. The BMW still leads from the Viper.
Still the battle in GT, Farnbacher in hand, Jeremy, with Jimmy Bruni not really closing in on this, but the advantage that Bruni has is that he can go a couple of laps longer than these two guys, at least. Now, you know, at the moment that's not playing out into his hands, but if it's every time a couple of laps longer, and depending how the yellows fall, should there be any more, it just gives them more options, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and certainly the car seems to be working very, very well. Jimmy Bruni has been super fast in that car, as has Matteo Marticelli. As we saw in the second stint race, Olivier Beretta seems to struggle for some reason, but I'm sure Jimmy Bruni is going to be right up onto the pace right away. But he's got a sort of a 12 or 13 second deficit to make up on those two class leaders that we're seeing on board here with the second place car, number 91 Viper. Dominic Farnbacher just ahead of him is Jerry Hand. These two cars seem to be very closely matched, and boy, they've done a good job, because you know they were about, what, 5th or 6th, I think, in the early stages. They actually worked their way forward. The Corvette has had difficulties, while the Astons has had trouble, and the other Aston, meanwhile, is still running very, very well indeed in 4th place. Billy Johnson driving the 007 car. Number 55 BMW that is now back in 5th place. Maxime Martin driving that car. He's been closing in a little, he's been involved in a battle certainly with Billy Johnson in the Aston Martin. And then a little ways back from there is Wolf Hensler, who's back at the wheel of number 17 Falcon Tires Porsche. GTC has been changes again. The number 68 car has made a pit stop recently. That was a TRG car that was being driven by Carlos de Quesada. Kevin Estre, the Frenchman, is now showing at the wheel of that car. So he made a pit stop a little while ago, and he leads by about 20 seconds over the second of the TRG cars. Damien Faulkner driving in the car number 66. John Fogarty has taken the wheel of number 11 car for JDX, and that is back to 3rd place in the class. As I say that, I guess, okay, well, Estre's just made that pit stop, and it's now the number 22 car back in the lead in GTC. So the Alex Joe racing car leads again in GTC.
Tristan Nunez at the wheel of the Performance Tech Motorsports Prototype Challenge car, smashing young man, sat on the pole position, enjoying driving in the dark here as well, which is something he hasn't had the chance to do before. But he is one of the graduates of the Mazda ladder system here in the United States.
Well, the 12 Hours of Sebring really is an event there. The track's been hot all weekend with support races. John Doonan is the director of motorsports for Mazda, and it's all this ladder system where we see the superstars out here on the track today and looking for the stars of tomorrow.
You're right, Kelly, and Mazda, if anyone knows us, we dream big. We've dreamt big in developing the rotary engine, our latest SkyActiv technology, and the same holds true for young drivers. Joey Hand, John Edwards, Tristan Nunez in that number 500 Visit Florida car, and then yesterday, Neil Alberico, Scott Hargrove in the USF 2000 Championship, all running under Mazda power. And at the end of the weekend, 44% of the cars on track were Mazdas. So we're really proud of that. It's a testament to the reliability of our engines and our cars.
Certainly grateful for everything that Mazda has done in sports car here in the ALMS. Some of those guys that we've seen over the weekend could be up here racing against Joey Hand in the future.
That's right, and sometimes it's difficult because they graduate to another brand, Joey and John and Connor D. Filippi, but we're really proud to have given them the path, always in a Mazda-powered car as they grow their career, knowing that the engine and the car underneath them is reliable and was going to get them to the finish and maybe to the next level.
Hasn't been the perfect day here for the Dyson team. They've had issues early on, but they're pushing through them, and it's a long 12 hours.
We have a philosophy at Mazda: we never give up, and we've done that over the years. It led us to our victory at Le Mans, and certainly the Dyson guys in the four-cylinder Mazda are going to keep fighting, and it's a long season, so this is one step towards the championship.
Thanks for everything you've done, John.
Thanks, Kelly.
John Doonan. Oh. And talk about never say die. It looks like the Dyson Mazda Lola team have got more work as the 16 car crawls into the pits. And we've just heard of another pit lane speed violation, this time for the number 99, the competition motorsports Porsche in the GTC category. And it looks like the 16 hasn't got all the way to its pits there as well. John, just Jeremy, just thinking about when we think about that ladder system, it always looks to me as though in some ways America have got a pretty well-defined ladder system, whereas sometimes in Europe the proliferation of particularly single-seat series tends to muddy the waters a little bit. You're with Team USA obviously integrally involved in young driver talent here. Is that actually the case? Is it an easier choice of progression?
Very much so, yeah. It's in open wheel racing, it's very clear. I mean, Mazda sponsors the Mazda Road to Indy. It goes from the Skip Barber Racing School into USF 2000. We have two great races here this weekend for USF 2000. The next step is Pro Mazda. The next step from that is Indy Lights, and the next step after that is the Eyes on IndyCar series. And there's scholarships all the way up that ladder. If you win at any particular level, you get enough money to move on up to the next level, and it's astonishing.
Is it enough, Jeremy? Is it enough to actually pay for the next season? It's not just a contribution, as we see in some of the European championships.
No, from the Skip Barber School to USF 2000 to Star Mazda to Pro Mazda is full scholarships. It's pretty much a whole season campaign. Maybe not with some of the very top dollar teams, perhaps, but it's very close. It's certainly enough money to do a full budget, and from Indy Lights up to IndyCar, that isn't a full scholarship enough to get you up there, but it's a big helping hand. And the last two winners of Indy Lights have been Joseph Newgarden and Tristan Vautier last year. They've both moved up into the IndyCars, and it's the same in sports cars as well. Mazda has the MX-5 Cup. They were racing this weekend. The Mazda also powers the Cooper Tires Indy IMSA Lights Prototype Championship. That was racing this weekend. That's what both Charlie Shears and Tristan Nunez, that are sharing that number 500 car this weekend, they've both won that championship in the last couple of years. So Mazda has Kelly was right to thank John Doonan, because Mazda really has stepped up, put their money's where their mouths are, and they're helping a lot of drivers move up the ladder. Pit stop for the leader.
Alan McNish in the pit lane as the battles continue. Keeping our eye on the right-hand side of the screen on the GT leaders as McNish get out there, Jeremy?
I would think so. He's been in the car for how long has he been in there? A couple of hours, so yes, probably.
Chris Neville is lurking down there. It's a full stop, so I presume.
Yeah, Lucas Grassi getting behind the wheel, his first go in the 2 car. They had about a 19-second lead before this stop, but they're going to give it back to the 1 car after this stop. So fuel and tires on the Audi. And I'm going to jump over the wall here and see if I can get with Alan McNish real quick, who already has his helmet off. So yeah, this is perfect time to get Alan. Hey, Alan. Can we talk to you about that penalty that happened there that looked like pretty light contact?
Yeah, I ran round the outside of the car through turn 11 and 12, and I got a tap on my left rear corner where he came into me. I was right on the edge of the grass, the tarmac, so I was surprised, to be honest with you. But, that's a decision. You can't do much about it once you're sat there for a minute. But it definitely kicked our lead, that's for sure.
Talking to the team, they're saying that you guys are having some tire wear that's a little bit higher than you normally see. Are you getting that under control?
Starting to. The track's rubbing in now, but the concrete sections are still very slippery. And that's always the problem here. You're trying to sort of balance the tire and the car out, not just for the beginning of the race, but also for the end. So right now, I felt pretty comfortable in the car on new tire and used, and lap time seemed to be pretty good, and being careful in traffic. And so from that point of view, I was quite happy.
Anything you were able to communicate to Lucas before he got in the wheel?
Yeah, car's good.
sanguine Alan McNish down there in the pit lane, but as he said, there's nothing you can do now. Hello to Owen Mildenhall from Auto Express, who's settled in for the long term. Now there is an issue with the 551 car. That's not up to speed. That's Briscoe.
And that's just come out of the pit lane. Scott Tucker has finally got out of that car, handed it over to Ryan Briscoe, and this is its first lap out of the pits.
He's not got fire, I'm afraid. He's bump started that, I think, if you can even do that with a paddle shift car. But that car had died. There's the lead battle for the GTs into turn number 1, and it looks like Farnbacher might have a run up the inside. Through 2 into 3, yes, he's there. He's got to hold on to it and get the car stopped to the apex. He does do it, parks it on the apex, and Viper leads at Sebring. SRT Viper, Dominic Farnbacher setting up Joey Hand coming out of 17 across the start-finish line, and then down through 1. Didn't get it done until turn number 2, but there is another new mark at the head of the field.
A fantastic pass there by Dominic Farnbacher, but just moments ago, Bobby Rahal had been on the radio with Joey Hand telling him, look, they're giving out a lot of penalties for blocking, so telling him to be careful. Now, that was a little bit ago. Joey held him off as long as we could. Farnbacher made the move and got the pass.
So Viper out in the lead in GT for the very first time, and it's on merit too. Boy, those SRT guys have done a sensational job over the winter. I mean, they were pretty quick out of the box. They joined the series at Mid-Ohio last year, the last few races of the season, and they came on very, very strong. They were running very well, but boy, what a change since then. Lucas Luhr is in the pits as well, by the way, car number 6, 4th place overall.
Delighted to say that we have another guest in the studio with Jeremy and I, and it is none other than Aston Martin's David Richards. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. It's an afternoon.
Yes, it's afternoon somewhere, David. We've got a worldwide audience here, as you know. What, 3.5 hours into this? It's good news, bad news bears for you as well, hasn't it? The 97 car with a bit of overheating earlier on, Darren at the wheel after a really good and pacey start to the race. Have we got to the bottom of that yet?
I hit another car. There was an LMP2. You noticed one of the Corvettes got stop-go penalty for an incident on the track, and I think it was the same incident where he touched an LMP2 car. I think came back on the track, and I think poor Darren went straight in the back of him, and it wasn't a sort of big shot, but it was a few laps later that the radiator cracked.
So it's been a radiator change on that car?
Yeah, it took about half an hour.
And now it works as it should?
Yes, it's running well. We're in test move.
Is the 13 car significantly different, David, from the 12 car? We've got both of them here. I mean, I can see the difference down the sills for the venting of some of the exhaust heat.
Yeah, it's obviously the new car is an evolution from last year's car with a bit of work on engine-wise, aerodynamics, a few other bits lower centre of gravity, but it's just a sort of slow evolution, if you like. It's not a radical difference, and you can see from the performance of Billy in the 007 car now, he's doing very well indeed.
He's doing a heck of a job, actually. He's not just doing very well. Jeremy was commenting on it earlier on, as in comes Ryan Briscoe after that issue. Still not sure why Ryan Briscoe's got a full Union flag on the back of his helmet there, but good luck to him. We'll claim him as one of ours if he wins, for sure. There's no doubt about that. Well, that was a very quick reset.
Okay, we have radio check.
I think that was just the computer being plugged in there.
Now it's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah, okay, that mate. We kind of realised that halfway around you are clear on pit straight.
And that the Dulcet Northeastern tones are those of Piers Phillips, his engineer, for the 551 car, formerly of Stracker Racing, now a bit of a troubleshooter for HPT. Hearing of a penalty for, I think it was the 40 car, was that the 40 car? 4-1 car, thank you very much, Bubba, for speeding along pit lane.
That could be costly. They were leading P2 not so long ago. Christian Zugel now taking over the wheel from Eric Lux at that last pit stop, but they were very much a contender. That they did not need.
David Richards from Aston Martin is with us. Big year for Aston Martin this year, very big year, one of the biggest.
Well, 100 years old this year, that's not many car companies can claim that.
Just seeing a replay of the steering wheel being refitted by the mechanic down in the pit lane. That's what it was. It wasn't actually centred properly. Oh, go around Sebring at 180 mile an hour with a steering wheel that's not quite on the splines. Yes, Thanks a lot for that. Looking further forward through the year, David, Le Mans is becoming a bit of an Aston Martin festival. You do have your 100 Shirts Festival later on in the year. 5 cars now in the field for Aston Martin Racing, and all running in that iconic Gulf livery.
Yeah, it'll be a busy time for the lads down at Aston Martin Racing, that's for sure. But there's a lot more to come before then with the World Endurance Championship, and first round of that, of course, in Silverstone in about a month's time, less than a month now.
And between the two, we've got the Nürburgring 24 as well, an event that has brought an awful lot of publicity to a variety of Aston Martin products down through the years. You had the Zagato there a couple of years ago, debuting out there after Villa d'Este, and some plans for that this year as well that should make people's eyebrows raise a little as well.
Yeah, we've got a Rapide running this year, the new Rapide S with a hydrogen hybrid engine, which is going to be the first sort of hydrogen race car, so it's quite an exciting prospect there. And then we'll have a full GT3 car as well with our usual driver lineup there.
There is the update on the Michelin Green X Challenge, with Audi Sports leading the prototype category. Remember, looking for scores in clean, fast and efficient categories. There's a sophisticated mathematical formula that is slide rule precise, giving us the totals. It's the lowest total that is the best, of course, and for the GTs we'll look at those as well. And it is the Viper, the SRT Motorsports 93 car, by a very small amount indeed from the 62. The 62 going longer on stints, so it's used less fuel to this point, and that is going to stand it in good stead in the Michelin Green X Challenge, proving that we can race and be clean, fast and efficient as well. David Richards with us from Aston Martin Racing, with us here in the booth. Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh across the world at ALMS.com and across Europe on Motors TV, among others. And back in America as well, David, here at Sebring. Any plans for the American fans will kill me if I don't ask you any plans for more outings in the American Le Mans Series through the year?
Well, we'll have to see. Well, you know, it's certainly something we'd like to be doing, but there are lots of considerations around that.
You've already got a very strong presence with the Grand Am series, particularly Continental tyres. 2 series coming together next year, as we heard earlier on this week. In terms of a brand like Aston Martin, is that a good thing for sports car racing, and how do you view that?
I think it's a very good thing to see the 2 series finally come together, and you know, I'm sure it's not been an easy task to put them together, and I suppose the proof in the pudding will be how the regulations pan out and the parity that they achieve, and the transparency around the regulations for the future.
And you mentioned the WEC, Aston Martin with a works team in that this year. Do the letters FIA and the words World Championship really make that much of a difference to a championship? Does that up the ante as far as manufacturers are concerned?
I think the FIA are renowned for being inscrutable in the way that they manage these championships, in the technical regulations, the way that they do the balance of performance, and that's very important to us to attract us to these championships.
Aston have grown massively over the last decade or so. You've extended your product range. We've had cars like the Signet. There's talk of a utility type vehicle coming out of Aston Martin in the next few years. How hard is it for a relatively small manufacturer to still compete in the ultimate, the premium sector?
It's a very big challenge for a small company like ours, and you know, we have to be very sensible about the way we go about things. The products we've got today, we've got a great range of cars now, all new cars just from this start of this year. So you know, from that side, we've done an excellent job. On the racing side, I think that the team should also be complimented, because to sort of battle it out at the front of a field against the likes of the big factories, whether it's Corvette or Chrysler and Ferrari, compared with the sort of resources that we run to, it's a great accolade to all the engineers involved.
Let's head down to the pit lane. Chris Neville has more for us.
And Scott Sharp just handed over to Guy Cosmo. Scott, you were battling for the lead most of the day there, but those last 20-30 minutes I was listening to you on the radio, and you were really having your hands full with the tires.
Yeah, you know, it was surprised us a little bit. David fairly successfully triple stinted, and we were trying to hope to do that, but it just really started sliding around both ends. Made a small pressure adjustment on one of our stops, but second stop, but just hanging on there towards the end. Needed a fresh set of tires.
I also took a look at that front splitter. You've got a broken stay on the lower dive plane. Were you picking up any sort of vibration there?
Not really too bad. No, I mean, the car's got a little bit of understeer in it, but that's as much low speed where that probably doesn't take effect as anywhere else.
All right, great run.
We'll keep going. Thank you.
Scott Sharp moving up into P2. Late decision for that car to move away from their Ferraris. The GT category, David Richards with us here in the studio. You're mentioning the competitive nature of it. The category itself has had a relatively stable set of rules for a little while now. There's talk of a major overhaul as early as perhaps 2016. What do the rules makers have to bear in mind if they and when they're going to do that, David, to keep this fabulous competition that we see here and in the WEC?
I think they've got to look to, stability breeds investment, and all new manufacturers or existing manufacturers, nobody's in the difficult times that we're living in at the moment, nobody's going to invest vast fortunes into doing a new car. So we need to not make the current cars redundant, and I think the FIA have done a good job of that with some of the categories that they've done in GT racing. GT4 has been very good for a while now, GT3 likewise, and we just have to be extremely careful we don't sort of lose manufacturers as much as we might try and appeal to new ones.
Lucas Lewis down in the pit lane with Kelly Stavist.
Well, Lucas Luhr just handed driver duties over to Romain Dumas, but Lucas, when you got behind the wheel, first thing that happened was you lost one. The right front or the left front wheel came completely off. Omitting the four-letter words, what were you thinking when that happened?
Well, I can't say you right now what I was thinking, but no. First of all, I said, "Well, that's strange," and then I looked into the dive planes and I saw there's no wheel there. So I drove around as quick as I could, but it's always, very fine line. You cannot go too quick because then you damage too much on the car. If you go too slow, you lose so much. So it's always a little bit balanced. But the car is running good. I think we fired. We did fire it back already. So we are, after the pit stops, I think 30 seconds behind now. And there's still, way over 8 hours to go. So at the moment, everything is good.
Given that bit of a gap you have to make up on the other petrol cars, do you think this is going to become a race in the pits and on strategy, or is there going to be a chance, do you think, that you can go out there with outright speed?
I think we can go there with outright speed, and usually we're a little bit better on the fuel economy as well. So, I'm at the moment, I'm still pretty confident we can get them in speed.
Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you.
There is the 13, that was Frankie Cheng that brought the Rebellion Toyota Lola into the pit lane. They've given up their fourth position. Romain Dumas, who's just in that Muscle Milk number 6 car, has gone back through, and effectively that's second place, remember, in the ALMS category. The unofficial ALMS category. The Audi's not staying around for the whole year, so it will be Rebellion versus Muscle Milk versus Dyson for the rest of the year. We've got David Richards from Aston Martin here in the booth with Jeremy Shaw and myself, and before we let him go, as the Dyson is going back behind the wall for the second time today, it's not been a good opening to the season to the little team from Poughkeepsie. David, you're a racer yourself, you've got a competitive mentality. When do we see you back in a race car?
Well, I might do the first round of the British Aston Martin GT4 Championship, and I'll probably turn up at Brands Hatch in the summer for our centenary race meeting as well. Massive
event that on the first weekend in July. Looking forward to that massively. I should say that there's a number of people who are up at Stratstone Aston Martin in Derby watching us on a 60-inch plasma screen. They're having a big party up there right the way through the race. So some words of encouragement from you to some of your customers and potential customers. I think
it's great to see the engagement from the dealers, not just back in England but here in America as well, and that's what makes this type of racing so appealing. We're racing a GT car that has all its heritage in the vehicles people can buy in our showrooms, and you can sort of see the cars racing on the track and really feel it's you're living the dream.
Yes, and one day I might just realise it. David, thank you very much. I know how busy you are when you're over here. Give our best to John Gore and the rest of the guys down in the pit lane, and we'll see you at Silverstone in a few weeks' time.
Thank you very much.
David Richards, the man at the top of Aston Martin, with us here in the booth. Jeremy Shaw has been watching what's going on out on the circuit, and it's fast and furious for Luca Di Grassi in the number 2 Audi at the moment, Jeremy, as we're beginning to get into the real meat of this race with 3 hours and 41 minutes gone.
Yeah, amazing. We're that far into the race already. The number 12 car, third place car overall, Neil Jarni making it a pit stop right now as well. That's right on schedule for the Rebellion car. That's the first of the full season contenders in the American Le Mans Series. Watching a battle going on down there at the end of the ALMS straight, coming into turn 17. That's a couple of P2 cars. Guy Cosmo is in the lead. He took over from Scott Sharp in the P2 category, but Simon Pagenaud is up into second place.
And that is the battle on the screen there in P2, Jeremy, going into turn 1. So that's a great drive back from Pagenaud.
I don't think that's the battle for the lead there, is it?
Actually, there's a lap between them at the moment, isn't there? My apologies, but those are the 2 leading cars. The Ewan 1 and the 552.
That's not what the scoring is showing. I think, is that what we're on board here with... is that Ryan Briscoe we're on board with? He is a couple of laps down. Yeah, that's the 551 car. That is Ryan Briscoe, and he's in 4th place in P2 and 2 laps behind the class leader Guy Cosmo in the 01 car. Simon Pagenaud in the second of the level 5 motorsports cars of 552 is about 23 seconds behind the P2 leader. Those two running 6th and 7th overall. Farther back down in GT, the Dominic Farnbach has now moved up to 11th place overall in that Viper. He's leading by about 4 seconds over Joey Hand in the BMW Z4 GTE. 3rd place in GT, still Jimmy Bruni in the Ferrari. And again, that battle, or the gap between the 1st and 3rd place cars in GT, it's around about 14 seconds. It's been the same since Bruni got behind the wheel of that car for the last, when he got in the last round of pit stops, which was getting on for 45 minutes ago. So it seems to be situation normal there. The fastest lap in GT still set by the Aston Martin of Stefan Mucker, but he remains 20 odd laps off the pace in the GT class, so no real hope of making up all that ground. But as David Richards was saying, a good opportunity to do some testing in advance of the World Endurance Championship season. At the front of the field, it's Oliver Jarvis lead over Luca Di Grassi, around about just over a minute between cars numbers 1 and 2. The 3rd place car of Neil Jarni now 2 laps off the ultimate pace. Neil Jarni having made that pit stop, he's about half a minute or so ahead of Romain Dumas in the Muscle Milk car. They had that problem earlier on with the lost wheel, but Romain Dumas has been charging along, trying to make up some of that deficit, and they're on a sort of fairly similar pit stop strategy now.
And the number 1 car is in the pit lane now. Ollie Jarvis brings the leading car in on lap 116, is that, Jeremy? So what's that in terms of... That was a full green flag stint again, wasn't it?
23 laps, yes.
That seems to be what they're settling on, isn't it, for a green flag stint?
And tyres, it looks like, for the race leader, waiting for the fueling to be finished. It is now done. So, oh, maybe not, they didn't change tyres.
No, fuel only. Yeah, they laid them out just to confuse us. Nick Holland at NH247 says, what happened to Ollie Gavin? It's not been a great day for the Corvettes.
Copy, Ollie. Traffic front straight, traffic front straight.
Nina Gade telling Ollie Jarvis to just be careful. Ollie Gavin dropped out to 10th position now. The number 4 car having issues with the electronic dash. The number 3 car's having electronic problems as well, but that mainly down to steering wheel and gear shift, and that car is back out on the circuit now, as you can see from the onboard, but has dropped a long way down. It's Jordan Taylor who's at the wheel of that car, and he's running 41st as we go into our second full course caution at 3 hours and 46 minutes. We've got a circuit vehicle on the track as well. That's the waving white flag. So lap 116, we're back to caution, and it's the ESM P2 car.
My tires are
And I think that's Ed Brown again, still struggling with the handling of that car at turn number 5, exactly where he went off before, and this time he has beached the car, high-centered the car on the blue and white curbs on driver's right.
Once they get you going, my guess is those pits will still be closed by the time you get back here.
We're going to do a driver change.
Affirmative.
Safety crew on the screen. Well, Ed Brown's been talking to us earlier this week about his first time behind the wheel of this car, which was quite recently. Starting this season, a new car, a new class, and it's not been the easiest of transitions from the GT car. Let's have a little look on boards. Oh, changing down. That's just the middle of the corner. The car, the back end of the car, just giving. He was not on the throttle there, Jeremy.
He was having some problem there with the gears there, though. He was shuffling around between gears. So.
Well, Extreme Speed starting this season with a brand new car and a new class, and it's a big transition, as we've seen from Ed Brown, from that Ferrari into this HPD P2 car. We caught up with them earlier on this week to let him give us his first impressions.
Well, the cars, it was been really good in testing. You know, we're dealing with some programming issues this week, but it'll be good by the time we get going. But it's you know, it's a really fun car. It's a lot different car to drive than the GT car. In a lot of ways easier. Mentally, probably just a little more. It's a little more difficult because of the speeds and how deep it'll brake compared to the GT car. But it's good. But I think, you know, it'll all shake out. I mean, I got down pretty quick, easily in the test, and I'm sure once we kind of get the car situated a little bit, it'll come back.
So safety teams working overtime to get Ed on his way again. They have done very quickly, and the team were absolutely right. The pits have not even been opened yet, so he gets the wave around, or gets the car going and gets moving again. This is not great news for Luca Di Grassi in the number 2 car, because he hoped to extend his lead to Ollie Jarvis. He's just come out the pits, and now, of course, Ollie has almost had a free pit stop there, because he's back up within 0.6 of a second. 117 laps completed for the 2 leading Audis. 115 for third place Neil Yarni in the number 12. That's the Rebellion Toyota Lola. Romain Dumas has fought his way back up to 4th position in the number 6 Muscle Milk, the HPD. He's back on lap number 115. On lap 114 now, Matthias Besch in the number 13 Rebellion Lola Toyota. In P2, Guy Cosmo leading for Extreme Speed Motorsports on lap number 111 from Simon Pagenaud in the 552 level 5 car. Now he's showing us 21 seconds behind at the moment, but at least he is still on that lead lap. Christian Zugel 1 lap off the lead lap in P2, having completed 110 circuits of the 3.74 mile Sebring track in the 41 Greaves car. Ryan Briscoe, by the way, a further lap behind in 4th position in P2. The PC leader is the number 52 PR1 Mathiasen Motorsports Orica, with David Chan at the wheel. He's on lap 108. His nearest competitor is Alex Papau, who is in the RSR Racing PC car, and third in the Continental Tires PC Championship is, or class should I say, is Stefan Johansson. Whilst we're under full course caution, we'll take the opportunity to break away for a moment from Sebring.
Prototype cars next to GT cars. 30, 35 cars, all different speeds.
We are racing! Colin Brown back to the lead! It's now or never for Lucas Law, and it's now! The white flag is flying!
Nice job, buddy. Awesome job.
This is the American Le Mans Series.
When it comes to fun family getaways, it's got to be Holiday Inn Club Vacations. Room to be yourself.
Everything we ever thought up. Everything we fight for. Everything we dream of. Everything we are. The 911. Porsche identity.
Southern California, known for its movie stars, sandy beaches, and heavy traffic. On April 20th, the American Le Mans Series, presented by Tequila Patron, will bring traffic of its own to the streets of Long Beach. 5 different classes of cars will race wheel to wheel, reaching speeds of up to 140 miles an hour. Be sure to catch the race live April 20th on ESPN3 and April 21st on ABC.
It's the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by Fresh from Florida, here at Sebring International Raceway. Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh with you for ALMS.com and our affiliates around the world. Hope you're enjoying this tantalising race. The boys from Audi keeping us honest at the front, with Luca Di Grassi back in the lead from Ollie Jarvis after Ollie's pit stop. And there is Ollie Jarvis rather on your screens at the moment. Just before we went to break, ran down as far as 3rd place in PC and GT. Dominic Farbacker still leads for SRT Viper on lap 109. Joey Hand is on the same lap in 2nd place. And in 3rd place in GT is Jimmy Bruni, also on lap 109. In GTC, it's the 22 WeatherTech AJR Porsche. Jeroen Blekemolen from Kuba Germaziak in the number 31. In 2nd place, the NGT Motorsport. And then Spencer Pumpelly. Now, fans often wonder what race car drivers do in the off-season. Well, Patrick Long has given us a glimpse of what he's been doing.
One of the coolest things about being a racing driver is the many different places that we get to travel, but also the great cars that we get to experience. This off-season, Michelin invited 5 ALMS drivers, including myself, out to New Orleans to help launch the new Michelin Pilot Sport All Season 3. I thought it was wild that Michelin took us out, put us into their latest tire that they just launched, up against the best the competition could supply. They took us drivers and the media through a gauntlet of tests, from high-speed slalom sections to dry autocross, wet high-speed and low-speed braking, and a great section on a road course. Aside from all the on-track activity and action that we had, it was great to hang out with the developers and the engineers from the road tire side, to talk to them about what we do on the racetrack and to see the data that we collect and how they apply that to the new consumer models is something really special.
Patrick Long is a guy who loves every aspect of this sport, and particularly all the opportunities that go along with it. Let's go down to the pit lane. Andrew Marriott is in the pit lane in the Audi Sport Camp.
So this looks like a routine pit stop for the most technologically advanced racing car in the world. It is, of course, the number 2 Audi. They are changing the Michelin, just having a good visual inspection around the car. And when it goes out, we'll try and listen to that incredible flywheel at the front. And there it goes. This technology of the front wheel drive is actually from Williams Formula One. And they're not only developing it for the Audi, they're also developing it for buses and coaches, and believe it or not, even excavators and trains. It's incredible technology. That flywheel spins round there over 60,000 revs a minute. Great racing car, and the racing car having a great race at the moment.
Thanks very much indeed, Andrew. Yeah, fascinating technology there. The number 6 car of Lucas Luhr, also Romain Dumas, taking the opportunity to make a pit stop as well. Good timing for them. They were able to make that stop under yellow, but he's still 1 lap behind Neil Jarney in car number 12. The Rebellion car still is the best placed of the full season American Le Mans Series cars.
And off brake, the car stands quite sharply, so it's very difficult. You're almost going to feel like you're going to go off on extra, and then all of a sudden, as you release brake, you pick up grip.
Oliver Jarvis there, talking about how it feels like in these cars. And look at all that gadgetry, the componentry behind him there on the bulkhead between him and the engine on that Audi R18 e-tron Quattro. He is driving the 2012 car, Oliver Jarvis, sharing it with Marcel Fassler, who put the car on the pole position, Bernard Trullier, and it's now Oliver Jarvis' time behind the wheel. Under yellow here, we've got an opportunity. We've been joined by Al Spire, who's a long-time director of motorsports for Bridgestone and Firestone. Al, welcome back to the American Le Mans Series. It's been a while.
Yes, Jeremy, it's great to be here. Seeing a lot of old friends, familiar faces down here, and you know, the clear blue skies and perfect climate you have here is something that I'm really, really excited about taking part of.
Yeah, when was the last time you were at the Sebring 12 Hours, Al?
Well, you know, back in the late 80s.
We'll come back to them. First of all, let's go back down to the pit lane again. Andrew Marriott has caught up with Ed Brown, who's had a torrid time in the Extreme Speed Motorsports car.
Yeah, Ed Brown, you just went at me. That was hard work.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you know, just kind of got hit into one early in that run, and then I don't know what happened at the end there. The tires, the car really started to push bad, and it pushed, then went snap loose. That was just frustrating because I worked really hard like the last 40 minutes to get back through all the traffic so I'd have some clear running. Oh well, I'll get back in here today and keep on learning.
It's hard to understand so much extra downforce when you're not used to it, and how it works under braking in particular.
Yeah, I mean, you just keep on having to get off the brakes quicker and quicker because that's what the car really likes to do. And if you hold on to the brakes like in a GT car, it just hates it. So we're learning. We're still running, so that's a good thing.
Thanks to Jamie.
And the 91 SRT Viper came off the pit road. Also, there was a driver change. Dominic Farnbacher now out of the car. Ryan DL taking over duties. It was a very quick stop for this team. That was one of the things that they did work on in the offseason, as well as taking a lot of weight out of the car. It was a tremendous stint for Dominic. Great pit stop for the guys. Viper is here to fight, guys.
Thanks, Jamie Howe. All sorts of pit stops there. Some of the GTC cars on the pit lane as well. The number 22 car there, Jeroen Blekemolen, just coming out of the pit lane. That's the Alex Job racing car, the WeatherTech entry. He's been that car's been out in front for a long, long time in GTC. Marco Seefried on the wheel of car number 30 for NGT, for the NGT team, also making a pit stop, and the BMWs there. All of the GT leaders came into the pit lane to get once again down to the pit lane, and Jamie Howe.
Well, while it was a clean and perfectly normal stop for the 91, anything but for the 93, you see the metal shavings. They went to put the new wheel on, and all of this just fell completely off. This 93 SRT Viper is going to be sitting on pit road for quite some time.
93 car, 91 car has been leading for the last an hour or so since taking over the lead, passing the BMW with Joey Hand at the wheel. And the number 93 car, Tommy Kendall, started out at the wheel of that car. and then Jonathan Bomarito, now Kuno Whitmer has been driving it. They've been hanging around about the tail end of the lead lap, but this is going to be a lengthy stop, as Jamie was explaining. Looking to go back to end this full course caution at the end of this lap. And Al Spa still with us. Al, unfortunately, the Delta Wing project has come to an early conclusion here, but an amazing turnaround of events there. I mean, in January, beginning of January, that car wasn't going to be running at all. And when did you first get the call to see whether Bridgestone might be interested in supplying tyres to it?
Well, it was actually late January, Jeremy, and I thought we were going to be talking about a 2014 project, not 2013, and definitely took me by surprise, and we had to do quite a bit of work to be ready, and it wasn't the debut we wanted here today, but that leaves plenty of optimism for the future, I guess.
I mean, astonishing you were able to turn around and build some tyres that quickly. I mean, you'd been involved in the process of the Delta Wing since its inception, particularly when the original plan from Ben Bowlby and the team was to build the cars for IndyCar. So you've done a lot of development on it, but you hadn't actually built any tyres, had you, or race tyres?
No, we had molds and we had some equipment and all, and we had done some, laboratory indoor testing, high speed. We've never put a tire on a race car on the track before, and to have it come together in less than 2 months was quite an effort. I really take my hat off to our guys who worked so hard.
Absolutely amazing. We'll come back to you in a minute. Our green flag is shown again here at Sebring International Raceway. We've got just over 4 hours in the book, so just less than 8 to go. Oliver Jarvis leads Luca Di Grassi in the 2 Audis at the front of the field. About 5 seconds between them, and a bunch of traffic as well in there, John.
Yeah, and these restarts just really are tremendously exciting, aren't they? Everybody's been cruising around, and they've got to go from cruise mode to full attack mode in about 0.2 of a second, really wind themselves up as we're on board with the Rebellion down towards turn number 7 and through it. And picking the way through traffic for Neil Yarney, who is the best of the ALMS cars at the moment. On lap number 120 for him, the 2 Audis have 4.8 seconds between them, with Ollie Jarvis leading from Luca Di Grassi. So they've changed back around again. I presume that was a stop from the 2 car, was it, Jeremy? Whilst Rebellion back with 2 cars in the American Le Mans Series and going well.
You mentioned
Jimmy,
how strong they ran at Petit. These cars are almost identical to the way that they ran at Petit. They actually have 3 cars on the premises here. These 2 cars that are racing today, they're going to go back to Europe after the race because the team figures they're going to be pretty beat up, not up to running at Long Beach. So they're going to bring out a new car at Long Beach, rebuild these 2. Then the car that's at Long Beach, it's going to go back to Europe as well. It's going to meet them at Le Mans. The team figures if they have it there as a spare, they probably won't need it. So the team going to be a team on the road. They learned that last year in competing in the World Endurance Championship, that it is possible to do well and travel back and forth. But as you guys said, it certainly is nice to see them out here full time.
yes, it is, and they used those multiple chassis to good effect last year because they had a problem partway through the season and had to ship one of the chassis back to the UK for repair. Had all 3 of them at Brazil. I think it was Bahrain, wasn't it, where they had the problem and wrote one of the chassis off, and that sort of went off like the Singleton in a Red Arrows display, joining back up with the team later on. And Bart Hayden and the rest of his crew committing to this double feature, if you like, of ALMS and World Endurance Championship. It's a big undertaking for a privateer team. So back into the GT battle, Ryan DL now at the wheel of the number 91 SRT.
In that case, he's just retaken the lead because after the pit stops, the BMW was out in front, and now the Viking, oh, there's the Christian Zugel, I think, at the wheel of the Reeves Motorsport car, who's running 3rd in P2, spun off here at the hairpin. That's going to cost him more time. He's already had an off a little while ago, but he's going to take a long way around. At least he's not going to run out over the grass and get it out of the way. But that battle of the GT is just intense. Joey Hand was leading when we came back from restart, I believe, but Ryan DeYell has wrested that advantage away again on the first lap of green flag racing. And look now, Joey Hand has his mirrors full of the Ferrari of Jimmy Bruni back at the wheel of that car, and the Corvette, the number 4 Corvette, which is 1 lap down to the leaders in GT, who are desperately trying to get back onto the lead lap, John.
GT racing, gotta love it, haven't you? I've been very impressed with the return of Risi Competizione, Jeremy. That, you know, they've been away for a year. A lot's happened in a year, including that new BMW that's right ahead of them there. And they have slotted back in as if they have never been away. Great to see Giuseppe, Fiona and the rest of the team in the paddock. And they've, no doubt to me, they've found another little superstar here in Matteo Malicelli.
Yeah, he's done a stellar job since he got into the wheelie. First time in North America, first time in this car, first time with this team. Look at the straight line speed there of the Ferrari. That's what they were working on over the winter. And he almost had a nibble there at Joey Hand going into turn 1. And this battle in GT, it's the Michelin cars generally at the front here, although the Falcon Tires Porsche is running very nicely in 4th place in the class. And we're joined by Al Spar, the Director of Motorsports for Bridgestone Firestone. Al, what chance of seeing you guys involved in this fantastic GT battle?
Well, it is a great battle. You're exactly right about that. And racing's very inspiring here. We're going to take a good hard look at everything that's going.
Wow, around the outside, sorry to interrupt you there. Okay. Around the outside goes Joey Hand. Fantastic move there around the outside of Malicelli's. Side by side they were coming into the hairpin. Tremendous battling. Great to see Bridgestone and or Firestone involved in this as well, Al.
I wish we were a part of it right here, right now, Jeremy. Certainly the competition gets everybody's blood flowing, and yeah, we'd like to be a part of it. So the series is quite healthy. All the announcements about the merger or something look very positive to us, and we're taking a good hard look at what all of the classes here can offer us in the future.
Well, you've been involved in GT racing in Japan, of course, the Bridgestone brand for many years, and you know it's not much of a stretch, is it, to see you back over here as well, perhaps?
No, we'd have to do some work. Obviously, when you get as competitive as these cars are, you got to fine-tune everything for the specific conditions. But it's a great challenge. That's what we really like to do in motorsports, and hopefully we can be right in the thick of it, you know, sometime in the near future.
Got a great season of IndyCar racing also coming up for you. You'll start that next weekend just down the road in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, I've already had a couple questions about that, and I'm sure the St. Petersburg crowd is going to want to know how things went up here at Sebring. So, you know, race fans
that's Bruni in the Ferrari. Bruni.
Sport, but this has got our blood flowing today. I wish we were part of it. You know, I know we didn't. The car didn't show its full potential today, and I know the tires didn't show their full potential, so we're going to keep working on it for the future.
I mean, for building the tyre so quickly, the drivers, I know, were very impressed with the grip that the tyre was given. Let's have a look again here, John, at this battle for the lead in GT.
Coming down to turn number 7, and Bruni gets the job done, but can't quite get the Ferrari stopped. And that allows Joey Hand to go back through underneath him. We've got a camera car that's not in the fight here. This is Tommy Milner in the number 4 GM Chevy Corvette. And we get a great view of what happens when you just can't get a GT car slowed down. And Jimmy Bruni quite obviously closing the door there in that Corvette, because he does not want them to get between him and his prey. His prey being the 2nd place BMW of Joey Hand.
Yeah, they want to get that Corvette back on the lead lap. They're not there at the moment. They've only got 3 cars to pass, and you can see the Viper there. It's only about a second and a half or 2 farther up the road.
Get the Viper down.
This battle for 2nd place. That's the first thing that Tommy Milner has to cope with, is to get past the Ferrari and get past the BMW. But Ferrari there, moving to the inside and making sure there is no way down to make a move on the inside for Tommy Milner.
Probably real just saying that, go on, get your head down, get after that Viper, which is only 2 seconds up the road, in fairness, so that's exactly what he needs to do. He doesn't really need to be embroiled in this. And cruising up behind him, Wolf Hensler, just to the right of the picture there, and the Falcon Tires Porsche, as the BMW of Joey Hand maybe just struggling a little bit now for tyres as he turns into 17. And Bruni is able to tighten the Ferrari up on the exit, and Hensler is coming like a steam train here to join this battle for 2nd place. It's going to be a 3-way fight pretty soon. Also in there is Lee Keane. Now Lee Keane is not in this fight with the BMW and the Ferrari, but he is in the fight between himself and Tom Milner, who's in that Corvette there, who's sitting tucked up behind here. He doesn't really want to go through and spoil this battle for us. I'm sure that's not in his mind at all, but he's just giving us some great pictures as he's sitting in behind the battle for GT second position.
It was fascinating to watch, though, to see the ebb and flow of this battle, and which car has maybe a slight advantage at one point on the racetrack. Again, Milner looks to the inside, but not quite close enough to get a move made on the Ferrari. And again, I think the straight line speed of that Ferrari was just enough to keep him ahead of Tommy Milner. No way past on that occasion.
And he comes down the inside. It's a great manoeuvre into turn 10. That is fun. Into turn 7, excuse me. That's a tremendous manoeuvre by Jimmy Brune. He caught, I think, just caught Joey Hand namming a tiny little bit there. And seeing it perfectly well from the overhead camera as he saw the opportunity to slide down the right-hand side of the circuit. You can't shortcut that corner anymore because of that big sausage-like curve that's been laid down there. Now Joey Hand has got a bit of a dilemma here. He is trying to get around these guys without spoiling the battle and getting embroiled in it, but he's being closed down by the 23 of Lee Keane, which is the red and white Ferrari just behind the Falcon tyres. And there, down the inside, goes Milner. He can't wait any longer, and there's a gap between the BMW and the Ferrari who's just gone through. And I actually think that's really considerate driving from Milner, except he's gone too deep into 17, and he'll give that back. And here comes Wolf Hensler. Now, Tommy's a lap down to Hensler and shouldn't really fight too hard. He's now trying to clean his tyres because he went so wide at 17.
He did indeed. He just got a bit too enthusiastic down there, and he's weaving around on the front straight to try and throw that excess rubber off the tyres. And Al Spar's still with us, Al. It's a problem for these guys because there's a lot of rubber marbles out there. When you get offline, you've got to clean up your tyres.
Right, they're so sticky though.
And there's a lot of stuff out there now already. Over 4 hours into this race, still a long, long way to go. But what a battle this is here. We've got 4 different makes of car running at the front in GT.
And there's exactly that dilemma we were talking about as Lee Keane hoves into view behind Tom Milner, and he's got to think to himself, why was I being so polite there? I should have been through laps ago. I've got a quicker car. But he didn't get embroiled in that battle for second position. I think actually that was pretty well managed by Tom Milner, because he clearly has got a car that's quicker in some places than the cars around him.
Yeah, and he's taking good advantage there. Now he's got to close down that gap to the leader, Ryan Dalziel, and try and get himself back onto the lead lap in GT. So another caution, and another full course caution, then he's able to get right back into contention.
Good to see Alex Job racing back as well in the top class. We're welcoming back 2 Ferraris. Recently we associate with Ferrari, absolutely. Alex Job racing perhaps not so much, but Alex Job back. Tyres Besh just been warned for blocking Romain Dumas, 4th and 5th in the overall and the P1 category. Romain Dumas in the number 6 Muscle Milk car, Matthias Besh in the 13 Rebellion Lola Toyota. There are still 3 seconds between them.
That's Hensler in the 17.
There's still 3 seconds between them, so that's pretty decent blocking if you can do it while the guy's still 3 seconds behind you.
Yeah, look how the Ferrari though is closed up on the lead, on the leader in GT. Ryan Dalziel now has his mirrors full of car number 62, so it's the number 91 Viper leads Ryan Dalziel, but 62 Jimmy Brune in the Ferrari's right with him, as we see a spin here for the 007 Aston Martin.
And that was 6th position with Paul Dallalana at the wheel of that car.
007 crew, 718 tyres on standby in the awning, please. Is everything okay? Please confirm.
So we have clicked through another hour, by the way, and all of that. Got so excited in the last 15 minutes We are 4 hours and 16 in, or if you prefer, 7:44 remaining of the time certain Sebring 12 hours, the Mobil 1 Sebring 12 hours, fueled by Fresh from Florida. GTC, we haven't spoken about those guys for a wee while. And it's Bleekemolen by 7 seconds, 22 from 45, the Flying Lizards, and Kuba Maziak in third, another 2 seconds further back in the 31. GT we've been watching quite extensively as this lead, and Bruni is just so quick and is about to get back on the rear wing of Ryan Dalziel. Dalziel, Bruni in hand, separated by a little less than 3 seconds at the moment.
He was right with him on the last lap. He seems to have lost a little ground on this time around, because I'd say that gap now is what, a second or a second and a half, and he was particularly right on his tail 1 lap ago. Pit stop now for the second place car in PC. Here is the number 9. Oh, it's a penalty.
That's a penalty. That's Alex Papa, second place, and that means Stefan Johansson gets a huge advantage in the number 8 Bar 1 Motorsports car. I can only presume, Jeremy, that was for contact, because he's being held for a minute, at least.
Yeah, that's a costly miscue for that number 19. They were running at the front throughout the race thus far.
It's good news for the Visit Florida 500 Performance Tech Motorsports Continental Tires PC car.
This is Stefan Johansson now leads the PC Continental class in the number 8 car for Bar 1 Motorsport. Stefan Johansson, he didn't like me reminding him the other day, or alerting him to the fact the other day, he's the oldest driver in the field, remarkably, at 56. Wasn't too keen when he hit that one. Looking on board.
Oh, he's just nailed the back of the Greaves car there, and that was either brake fade or brain fade. You be the judge.
Alex Popper has had a lot of success over the last couple of years. He won the class here last year, and with the Core Autosport entry. But that's a costly mistake, and that's going to put him back probably, certainly into third place, and probably off the lead lap in PC.
Well, the judge of fact thinking that was avoidable. And stop plus 60 is the standard penalty for that. You're with us live from Sebring. And if you are just joining us, where have you been? Have you been in note for your late attendance? Cracking race so far. It's still Ollie Jarvis and Luca Di Grassi at the head of the field for Audi. They have the best part of, well, in fact, just over a lap on the rest of the field. There's just on 7.5 seconds between the two Audi drivers. Neil Yarni is still in third, leading the 2 Rebellion racing cars, as Romain Dumas has closed in to within 1.5 seconds of Matthias Besch as they go across the line. Meantime, this GT battle just won't lie down, Jeremy.
It won't, will it? It's tremendous. The Viper still leads by a second or so over the Ferrari, but now, after making that mistake a little while ago, Tommy Milner has got himself up into what is effectively third place in the class, at least on the road. It's not third place in reality, but he's still a lap down, but he's closed right back onto the tail of that recent Ferrari.
Well, Giuseppe, this is why you came back to racing. What a fantastic battle with your boy.
Thank you, Andrew. Yes, it's a long race, and we think we prepared the car right. So we'll see what happens.
Coming earlier on, you were a bit slower than expected, I think. Now it seems to be coming back towards you, and of course, Brody's doing a fantastic job.
We just changed some tyre compounds, and we've now got some different compounds which suiting the driving style under pressure more.
Thanks very much.
I mentioned the 93 having trouble on pit lane. They are still working on getting the left rear of that car back in working order. But talk about the beauty of location. They have been able to push it right behind pit wall, which is what the rule says. You have to go behind the wall into an approved location. They've done that, so they've kept the car there, bringing the parts to the car. But Dominic Farnbacher in the 91 SRT Viper, watching on as his teammate Ryan DL continues to lead the GT category. Dominic, you've been with this team since the beginning. How much easier is it to drive this car this year than it was last year?
It's definitely a big step since last year. I mean, we made a great improvement on the Viper, and now it's competitive, and now we can actually drive for the lead, and as you saw earlier.
One thing that's still a little unclear is the reliability of the car. You did survive Petit without any mechanicals. What condition is the car in right now?
The 91 car is in a great condition. It just drives and drives and drives without any problems. On the 93 car, they just had an issue on the tire and on the wheel, and they just try to fix it now.
All right, well, the 91 SRT Viper still leading GT early on.
Thanks, Jamie. Coming round shortly, Jeremy, I would have thought, to some pit stops at the head of the field. 131 laps completed by the Audis. This GT battle is about to come right to life again, as once again Jimmy Bruni closes up on Ryan DL. Joy Hand not that far away behind.
And Tommy Milner in there as well, trying to get back onto the lead lap in GT.
Yeah, this is actually good. Now it's gone from being a bad situation for Milner to being a great situation for Milner, because he's closing up on the leader, and the Rebellion going through that battle at the moment needs to be very careful indeed. And here's Milner down the inside of Jimmy Bruni. That's not for position, but it'll put him the next car back.
Yeah, Corvette moves up one position there on the road, and now getting closer to getting back onto the turn and lead lap. And finally, Neil Jarry there in the third place car overall, number 12 Rebellion. Lola Toyota is able to get past her, but he's under a lot of pressure now from the number 13 car. It's Matthias Besch, and there is Romain Dumas. That is a battle for fourth and fifth place, number 13 and the number 6 coming past start-finish line to complete their 130th lap.
Sports car racing at its very, very best. Multiple class sports car racing at its very best, as we've got battles all over the circuit and going on around each other. GT and P1 cars all together there. And it looks to me very much as though Romain Dumas is on seek and destroy here as he closes right up behind Matthias Besch. This is for fourth position overall as they come down through the long left-hander, long right-hander at 6. Besch has gone very defensive very early, drives down the middle of the road into 7. That's fine. He's claimed his piece on the road and just stayed there.
Yeah, as long as he didn't move across again to take the line through the corner, he's fine by taking that defensive line to the inside.
Now as they come down, he's got to be careful not to move too far across. He's put himself on the wrong line there, and that's going to squeeze him on the way out, but he knows it's not a fast section next. He can control the pace. He's driving down the middle of the road. That's fine. Stick to a line. Make your car as wide as you like in the middle of the road. That's not an issue. It's when you start weaving backwards and forwards that the guys in race control are going to start taking an interest. Romain Dumas, very experienced Porsche factory driver, of course, and doing the development for the Porsche LMP1 car that's coming along in 2014.
Yeah, so learning a lot this weekend, I'm sure, driving the rival HPD car.
Absolutely.
Good run through the Jean de Bien curves there onto the back straight for Matthias Besch. Then they pull out a bit of a breathing space over Romain Dumas. There was nothing to hold up Romain, so that was just a really good couple of corners there for Matthias Besch. And boy, he's come on, hasn't he?
Yes.
Last year in P2, he was a bit of a revelation driving for the TDS Batterie team, wasn't he? Then they won the championship in P2. Is that right? In the ELMS, I believe. He certainly was a star. He was very, very quick. He did the Petit Le Mans as well. It was really quick there. He was a real surprise. The young from Switzerland, and he's come up through the saloon car ranks before, sedan ranks before moving into the prototypes, and was really taking to them very, very well indeed.
Love to see the ebb and flow of these battles and which cars are doing better at different parts of the circuit. The American Le Mans Series and Chevrolet Corvette have teamed up again for the sports car racing fans' dream. The grand prize of the all-new 2014 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray and an expenses-paid VIP insider trip to the 24 Hours of Le Mans is up for grabs. Go to racetowincorvette.com for your chance to win the ultimate sports car fan's dream. Racetowincorvette.com. Clearly see the radar working there, Jeremy, on that onboard shot from the Corvette. Meantime, there is Luca Di Grassi, just a second and a half away from Ollie Jarvis. Here is the battle for 7th place, Tom Milner, to get back on the lead lap of GT.
Yeah, just briefly on that lead, the two leaders we saw there, the gap where we went back to green was about 8 seconds between the number 1 car in the lead and the number 2 car in 2nd place. Now that gap down to about a second and a half. But this is what the main interest is at the moment, this fantastic battle in GT. The Viper leads, the Ferrari's in 2nd place, the Corvette right in between them, trying to get back onto the lead lap. Little by little, Tommy Milner is making up that ground now within about a second of Ryan DL.
Been a very, very good drive back by Milner. This very, very mature, very patient. All the things that we say that sports car drivers need to be. Just it's Tommy Milner in this stint. I think he's done an exceptional job.
Yeah, he did an exceptional job last year too. He really stepped up to the plate last year. He and Oliver Gavin, they won the championship in the American Le Mans Series in GT, deservedly so. And Tommy was absolutely mega. He made hardly any mistakes at all last year, and he was fast as well. That's exactly what he's doing. He made one little mistake a little while ago. We saw him overshoot the braking down in turn 17, but that was a no harm, no foul. It just cost him a couple of laps to get the tyres back up to proper optimal temperatures and throw all the excess rubber off there. But now he's got the foot down again. He's closed right in onto the tail of Ryan DL.
I can understand Ryan DL wanting to run his own race, but somebody needs to be on the phone to him now saying this is not for position. Don't fight him, because he could more easily lose the lead to Bruni, who's just sharking up behind there in the Giuseppe Risi Ferrari in 2nd place.
True, but at the same time, they don't want that very dangerous Corvette back on the lead lap, do they?
Good point as well.
It's a bit of a balancing act for Tommy Milner.
The ultimate sports car racing dichotomy for the man in the lead. And there is the lead of the race, Ollie Jarvis from Luca Di Grassi, down under a second now as they're out on the far side of the circuit from us. Great weather here this weekend, that has not been a factor. Little bit of a vibration underneath the number 1 of Ollie Jarvis. Just saw the under tray there floating around for a moment. Need to get another look at that if we can when it's coming straight towards us. Yes, that's very interesting. So has he ridden a curb? Yes, sir. Yes. So that's I wonder if that is damage underneath that particular car. Well, earlier on this week, Jeremy, was the big news that the new name for the North American Sports Car Championship would be United Sports Car Racing, USCR. And even better news for us purists and traditionalists, the IMSA name survives as the sanctioning body.
Yeah, that's great news. And IMSA, of course, was founded by John Bishop and Jim France Senior way back 40 years ago now almost, and super to see that entity is being retained here. A bit more relevant for the International Motorsports Association.
And the deal, if you like, the partnership between the ACO and the ALMS has been pushed forward into the new era as well. I noticed Pierre Fillon on the grid, the president of the ACO, Gerard Nouveau, from the man at the head of the WEC, which means Petit Le Mans remains as Petit Le Mans. The new GT class is GT Le Mans class in the new series. So this is very interesting how this is going forward, and I've got a feeling there's going to be some more big announcements shortly about the future, not just in 14 but going beyond that, and how North America and the ACO can be together for manufacturers like Audi, Toyota, and possibly bring them back to racing over here.
Out to Bridgestone as well. Al Spire is still with us. And Al, were you at the announcement the other day? but it's. I know you alluded to it a little bit ago that you were impressed with how the future is looking for sports car racing in general, and particularly here in North America.
7 hours and 28 minutes to go. Just over 4.5 gone.
Yes, well, I wasn't here, Jeremy. We are watching that very closely, and I think it's incredibly positive for sports car racing, as the entire paddock seems to think. A few of them maybe not as happy as all the rest, but I think it's very important to have it under one management, you know, universally taken care of, and like you said, and the little tape there said having the IMSA name survive certainly sparks a warm spot in my heart, because we worked with IMSA, you know, in the mid-'80s, so a lot of great friends there as well. So, you know, while I wasn't here, we're watching very, very closely what's going on in this arena.
Yeah, super to see it. It's great to see Bridgestone back in this sport. How much development are you going to do on those tyres that are running on the Delta Wing? Are you planning to develop that as the season progresses, and what can you learn from that will assist you in other projects, perhaps?
Well, you know, we definitely plan to develop all year long. We just got started, and we're going to use this season to continually develop tires, all the tracks.
That was a bit too close for comfort for the... In fact, there was a touch there, wasn't there, between the two teammates. Now, what's interesting is, of course, the number 2 car has the periscope, the 1 car doesn't. So the 2 car goes down the inside, and well, he's not really in the blind spot there. And I don't think that was overly smart by Lucas Di Grassi. Now, this is the periscope that we're talking about. It's a little aerodynamic pod on the top of the air intake that has a couple of forward-facing cameras in that. There they are. And that's what they feed onto. And there's one of those either side of the driver, looking forward, not backwards. That's to help with the... to help mitigate the A-pillar. There it is again, there's the screen for Luca Di Grassi, and that gives him a little bit of a better view around that A-pillar and indeed the larger fenders for those large front tyres now. Luca Di Grassi driving in a very, very dark visor. He'll not be doing the transition into night in that one, will he? How much, you know, we talked to a number of representatives from tyre manufacturers here in the American Le Mans series, because there is tyre competition, which I always think is great. Mm-hmm. How much of the technology honestly filters down to our street tyres? Is this a rolling laboratory for sports and super sports type tyres?
Well, it is in some respects. A lot of the things we work on internally, particularly with the compounds, the tread compound, some of the polymers and oils and the special ingredients we use inside the tyres to resist heat. Heat's a big factor in racing, of course. And some of those same ingredients that we use get into our street tires and help us get longer wear and better wet traction for everybody who drives the tires on the road, which are two things most consumers are interested in, is longer wear and wet traction. So it certainly helps us.
Rolling resistance is the big buzzword as well at the moment. People wanting to, you know, tyre manufacturers wanting to help get better mileage out of cars and do their bit for the green agenda.
Yes, and you know, that fits into the whole Delta Wing environment of being you know, half the weight and half the fuel type of thing. Bridgestone is working on our own technology with a line of Acopia tires that is designed primarily for fuel economy on everyday road cars, and certainly something that you know, it's good for the environment, it's good for the drivers, and it helps our USA become less dependent upon foreign oil.
Hey, Marino, we're almost 5 hours into the race, and now you're about to get into the level 5 car for the first time. How do you motivate yourself?
It's quite easy. You've got to go drive a racing car at one of the greatest races in the world. It's not difficult. So the trick of sports car is being ready when you're needed. You obviously got to make sure that you don't peak too early, get too much adrenaline going, stop being relaxing back at the bus. Watching Johnny O'Connell contradict himself on TV and generally having some fun. So yeah, obviously Scott did a great start to the race. Ryan's continues good work. Ryan and Simon and the other car are doing great as well. So just trying to make sure that we continue what we did yesterday and get on 1-2 for the level 5 team again.
And of course you're a new dad, a bit of a surprise, an early delivery.
Yeah, my little boy Luca decided to turn up last Friday when I arrived here, so I haven't had a chance to see him yet. Very much looking forward to getting home Monday and seeing him and my wife Holly, but I've been borrowing Darren Turner's baby, just having a little cuddle, so it's been okay.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, congratulations to Mino and Holly back at home with wee Luca. Race car driver or drummer then? What do you think the career path is? Bit of both, yeah. Well, yeah. Could be Isla Racing, bit like Neil. Hello, Neil. I know you'll be listening out there. Something about drummers and motor racing. I know we've got a few of them listening in around the world at the moment. In the PC category, it's time for pit stops, and there's Stefan Johansson bringing the number 8 car in for what looks to be a regular stop. Jamie Howe is down there.
It looks like this is going to be just a fuel-only pit stop. They do not have any new Continental tires out over the wall, and it is indeed fuel-only, though the car has not refired yet. I would have expected to see him leave. He might have been holding and waiting for the number 81, who is also on pit road, to go past. We're starting to seeing some pit stops happen of teams that did not pit under that last full course caution. It looks like Rebellion will be in pretty soon, the number 500. This is going to give Performance Tech the lead in the PC category. These cars almost identical. It all comes down to the team and the driver, so we're going to see a lot more of this back and forth leading the class as the day goes on.
So Charlie cheers for Performance Tech in the Visit Florida 500 car, celebrating 500 years of the great state of Florida. And we had Ponce de Leon on the grid today, and he looks good for his age, I tell you.
Yeah, not bad at all. Actually, if you look pretty closely, you'll see a close resemblance. There's one of the
27.
Close resemblance to Tristan Nunez, because it's his twin brother who is dressed up as Ponce de Leon this weekend.
And that is
Joe. Sport, I'd say.
That is Joe Foster in the wall for the Dempsey Del Piero Racing Tully's Coffee Porsche GT. And that car, the GTC car, has had contact with the wall. Both of the front headlight glasses knocked out. He's going to have some damage on the right side, I think, when he comes back around. Yes, not as bad as I was anticipating there, if I'm honest. Okay, it's not going to all polish out, but he's not even bothered coming into the pit. Well, no full course caution. It was still green. Watch on the replay, right hand side of the screen. He's lost it just turning in. And so what's he hit then? Oh, just clipped the barriers there as he's gone through. It must have been a light touch. Nice work by Allison down on the camera at turn 17 there.
Yeah, just the tyre stacks down there. They're not even backed up by the cement wall like they are on most parts of the track. Down at the end of 17, the end of that long Ullman straight, there's a couple of tyre stacks about maybe 5 or 10 metres short of the main wall. So in case anybody has a brake failure down there.
Audi in the pit lane, Andrew.
Yeah, and Oliver Jarvis just jumped out of the car. All the mechanics go to work here, as usual at the front. One mechanic lies on the ground and looks underneath for a visual check. The fuel is going in, and they are getting ready to change those Michelins. So Jarvis just already hanging up his seat. They've got a special way of hanging the seat up on the awning. He's already done that. Now that fresh set of tyres goes on, and the boys go to work. This pit stop should take them about 45 seconds. Down off the jacks and away it powers with the LED lights blazing away.
Pretty neat and tidy, wasn't it? Kind of what we expect from Joost.
I think another 3 or 4 laps we can expect number 2 car to make its pit stop as well. Also the 3rd place car, Neil Gianni, making a pit stop for the Rebellion team.
Yeah, and that is the leading ALMS petrol-powered car, the Privateers, and Jamie Howe is there.
And it's the number 12 that's in. The number 13 just left pit lane. It was a fuel-only stop for them. This is full service for the number 12, including a driver change. Tequila Patron now behind the wheel of the car. Fuel is complete. They take on about 21 gallons of the E10. You see the red wheel on the front. team, with those tires being the same size, they have different color rims. It's red in the front, gold in the back. The team saying is red on the rear. It doesn't steer. Nice way to keep it simple there. Andrew, the number 2's in.
So now the number 2 car is in. These pit stops now running together. Remember early on the 2 cars split, but just watching this pit stop from up on the steps of Audi. And this looks a routine. They're going to put some tyres on it. Fuel is going in, this diesel fuel, having transformed the image of this kind of fuel. Back in England, I run a diesel Audi these days, and it really is astounding how it is compared with the old days. See, as it goes away, not a wisp of black smoke at all. Remember those old trucks that used to belch smoke? Great technology.
Yeah, the diesel particulate filter and clean burning diesel, much less sulphur in diesel fuel nowadays as well, making that a bit cleaner.
And they had a set of tyres there ready to go onto that car. They didn't use them, so fuel only there for car number 2 and Luca de Grassi. So that should hand him a pretty good advantage over the number 1 car when they both get back up to speed. I think that's only the second time in this race that the number 2 car has not changed tyres on its pit stop.
Yes, that's a good point.
That's its 8th pit stop in all, including one of the penalties.
So our class leaders, Luca de Grassi, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Charlie Shears, Ryan DL and Jerome Blakemolen from P1, P2, PC, GT and GTC respectively. And still we have the battle at the head of the GT field, which looked like it was going to catch light half an hour ago. But Jimmy Bruning's not been much more than a second away, Jeremy, than from the back of the big wing on the 91.
That's true, but looking out of the front windscreen here on the number 91 car, just 2 cars ahead of him is that Corvette. The number 4 car is now back onto the lead lap in GT, 7th place in GT, but as I say, I think it's now on the lead lap.
Stop and go penalty coming for Matthias Besch, blocking. We told you he'd been warned. We presume that is on the number 6 car, but that is just a stop and go. But that's going to cost him 40 odd seconds. A lot of people tuning in, catching the middle portion of this race around the world, syndicated on ALMS.com and a variety of television. Hello everybody in the UK. And a lot of happy Welshmen, a lot of unhappy Englishmen at the moment after the rugby result this afternoon. And a lot of people having parties as well. Mentioned a few of them earlier on. Sarah Pass, Stephen, hello. Good to know that you're tuned in, enjoying the race. Start of another great ALMS season, and you can tune into all of it on ALMS.com. Your first click for all of the news from the American Le Mans Series. Extended coverage with video packages. Also race results. And a bit of archive in there as well as some comments from our broadcast colleagues. Looking at the front of the Del Piero, the Dempsey Del Piero car, there's that sort of underskirt going on at the front, which is tremendously important to the aero on these cars. They're taking their time to make sure that that is done absolutely correctly. Thanks to our spies from Bridgestone, who's taking his leave from us at the moment. And great to have Bridgestone back as one of 6 different tyre manufacturers in the American Le Mans Series this year, proving if proof were needed, competition improves the breed. Now here is the 13 of Matthias Besch heading into the penalty box. Stop and go. That's Speed.com's John de Geese in the foreground with his camera, as in from the lead of P2 comes Ryan Hunter-Reay.
1988 at Sebring was the height of the GTP era, with swoopy entries from Nissan, Jaguar, and Porsche. But our eyes were all on the Roush-prepared Mercury Cougar, driven to the GTO class victory by Wally Dallenbach Jr. and our own Dorsey Schrader.
Flying, not been many bad years in the 61, Jeremy, in all honesty, down the years. As we are continuing to track the races on the circuits. Rebellion back out on track. Romain Dumas now only 32 seconds behind Nicolas Prost for the battle of the ALMS privateers. So Nicolas can't really hang about. He was a little quicker last time around than Romain Dumas. In GTC, the number 31 NGT Motorsport of Kuba Maziak is up to second now, but he's still 15.5 seconds behind Jerome Blakable. That 22 car has pretty much from the end of the first hour been out there, and other than the pit stop rotation, the Alex Job Racing, the WeatherTech car, has been running superbly well. Third place, the first of the Flying Lizards, with Nelson Canassia Jr. at the wheel, who's done a very good job, by the way. He's another 15 seconds back from Cuba. Damien Faulkner. It's the first time I've seen Faulkner's name on there. I'm sure he must have been in the car this weekend. He's driving for the Racers Group 66 this weekend, and he's 18 seconds away from the Lizard, but took 3 seconds near enough out of Nelson last time around, so that's going to come down relatively quickly. If that is the Racer Group just making a charge for the front of the field in the GTC category. Ollie Jarvis has given the number 1 Audi over to Ben Treluer, who started the car. That's good news for us, as Andrew can talk to him.
Yeah, well, actually, what was going on, Rich, just come to have a word with Ollie now. I think I can get him. Ollie, you were pushing really hard there, were you?
Yeah, I mean, the first stint was reasonably good. I thought we were a little unfortunate with the safety car, because they allowed the number 2 car to pit, and basically a free pit stop, and after that they had fresh tyres, so a difficult second stint for me. But you know, we're still in the fight, and that's the plan. We've said stay on in there for the first sort of 10 hours and fight for the win the last 2.
Now, there was a little brush with Lucas, your teammate. Talk us through that, because we're just going to roll the tape.
I haven't seen it, but it was interesting in car, I have to say. We overtook an LMP mid-straight. I must admit, I didn't see him. I didn't think he'd make a move there. I turned in, and just as I turned in, he clipped the right rear. Fortunately, it was only a light brush, and we both managed to make it round. But you know, a close call, and as you can see, we're fighting hard, and anything can happen.
Well, our viewers out there probably don't realise how bad the visibility is. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's very difficult in the car. I mean, we sit very far back. When you see the onboard camera, it's sat much further, so it's got a much wider angle of view, whereas the driver's much further back, and we're very limited to just in front, so it's very difficult to see sort of what's beside you. So it makes life a little bit harder, but you know, we're teammates, so we have to be aware, and hopefully nothing like that will happen for the rest of the race.
Young Brick doing a great job.
Ollie Jarvis making the same point as we were about how much further the driver sits back. Now here are news of some penalties coming through. 5.52, leader in P2, level 5, stop plus 20, pit lane speed violation. And the O2, too many people working on the car for that one. That's Johannes van Overbeek down in 5th position in P2. It's going to be a stop plus 20 as well. Out on the circuit, the 66. That's Damien Faulkner, isn't it? Just got into that car with an issue. He'd closed in pretty quickly to the back of the Flying Lizard in 3rd position. Well, that car is nowhere near up to speed. Looking around it to see if there's any damage. Right front puncture. Damien was driving it so neat and tidily, I actually wasn't sure if there was a tyre issue, but one of the Yokohama's has given up at the front of that car. And the right front then is down, so Damien Faulkner coming back in as out goes Ryan Hunter-Reay, having now lost the lead in P2 to Guy Cosmo in the 01 ESM car. Scott Tucker saying to me on the grid they were still evaluating the rest of the season, haven't made any decision as whether to run the 2 level 5s throughout the rest of the year. Very much dependent on the competition and how things went here. Faulkner around 17 with a gaggle of cars going round him, and once again the Irishman, the experienced Irishman, has done a cracking job to get that car back without doing any further damage. And into the pit lane has come Tom Milner as well, having got back onto the end of the lead lap. He's going to struggle to hold on to that. The GTC leader is, as it has been for some time, the WeatherTech 22 Alex Job Racing Porsche. Through turn 1 for Jerome Blekemolen, former teammates with Damien Faulkner, who we were talking about having that issue earlier on. He's got about 16 seconds on Kuba Gear-Masiak in the NGT 31. This has been a measured run by the 22 squad again. The Alex Job Racing team are just such a solid organisation, aren't they? Same as the Flying Lizards. And they've come back into this championship. There is the 31, Jeremy, Kuba Gear-Masiak, who's impressed me again here. Often difficult to step up from single racing. A good breeding ground for GT runners. And he's managed to keep the pace up in this difficult middle portion of the race, being very warm this early part of the afternoon. Local time now, just coming up to 20 minutes to 4 o'clock.
Yeah, the youngster from Poland, 42 years of age only, he did some open wheel racing early in his career, then moved up into the Porsche Super Cup in Europe and had some very, very good results there. A couple of opportunities to drive over here in the American Le Mans Series and certainly taking full advantage of them. Had a good run at Petit Le Mans the end of last year. Next up in the GTC class at the moment, in third place, the 45 Flying Lizard entry of Nelson Canachet. Is about 16 or 17 seconds behind Kuba Gear-Masiak. That car has been in contention pretty much throughout the afternoon so far.
Just noticing Pierre Arret as well in the second of the Lizards, the 44. He's in 5th position at the moment, but he's having a bit of a battle.
I'll let you know when we're getting close.
With the JDX Racing, the gold Hertz-sponsored car, with Mike Headland at the wheel of that at the moment. And Pierre and Mike have been at it hammer and tongs for the last couple of laps, actually. Through goes Luca Di Grassi, followed in close contention by that 45, Nelson Canachet.
Ooh, a slide there.
Nice enough to put the indicator on though. Let everybody know where he was going. Just caught that with his hand as he was flailing around.
Himself, yeah.
Let's go down to Jamie, who is in the Flying Lizard pitch. Great to have them back in the American Le Mans Series, Jamie.
And it's a new era of Flying Lizard Motorsports. The team was founded in 2003 and they began racing in the GT category in 2004. They ran their first full season of competition, and by 2005 they already had their first podium at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Take them forward a couple more years, in 2008 they were strong enough for both the team, the driver, and the manufacturer championship, which they repeated in 2009. But now we're in 2013. Things have changed. Going forward, we have the new merger happening next year in 2014. So to commemorate the new era of racing, Flying Lizard made this poster. 2015 Williams. We're about to see a lot more good things, but new things from Fine Lizard Motorsports.
They've always understood the history of motor racing. I remember the Art Deco t-shirts that they did back in Le Mans. I've still got one somewhere. It's lasted remarkably well. And I would certainly like that poster on the wall of the office. Well, we're coming up to another hour. 5 hours almost completed. There are your class leaders. Don't go too far away. Plenty more action from the Sebring 12 hours to come. Lane worked its way up to second position and comes in for full service. For new Falcon tyres and a driver change. That's the second place car. That's an iconic livery, isn't it? It's that Falcon tyre livery. If you've played any video games, the GT500s, the Nürburgring 24, some of the drift cars as well, and came into the American Le Mans Series, what, 3 seasons ago now, and have had 3 victories. Hard fought. They've clearly got a tyre that works on the streets, and you've got to think of those guys as a candidate for the next round at Long Beach. 2 wins at Baltimore, 1 in appalling conditions at Mid-Ohio, when Wolf Hensler passed something like 20 cars.
Clear behind, clear, all the way out.
On the lap before the red flag was thrown. Not all of them for position, of course, but he still had to get by them.
It's been a great run today by the Falcon tyre. That was Derek Walker on the radio to say there was a clear run out of the pit lane, and they're running, second place as he came into the pits.
Reset fuel.
Reset the fuel there again for Derek Walker. We're in the middle of a round of pit stops here amongst GTs. The BMW, the car that led earlier on, must have made a pit stop a couple of laps ago. Here comes the 56 car. It's John Edwards now at the wheel of the number 56 BMW. He has taken over from Joey Hand. Looks to the outside, going into the hairpin. That's going to be a long way around, John.
No way. Surely not.
Nick Tandy has taken over at the wheel of number 17 car, but a good run there by John Edwards. He did the classic over-under. He was able to carry the speed through the middle of the corner and get on the inside line now, going into turn 10. Just good move there by John Edwards. That's a youngster making his debut in the American Le Mans Series 4 BMW. Bobby Rahal, he's a youngster, he's a former open wheel star. He was picked up by Red Bull at the age of 14 and taken over the Europe race to Formula Renault over there. They dropped him after about 3 years, which I think was I don't think that was their best move actually, because I think John Edwards is an absolute star. He was in over his head initially. Here's a number 55 car though on pit lane, Maxime Martin, another ALMS debutant this weekend, John.
Really? Has he not raced here before?
No.
Wow.
No, first race in North America.
Never in the world.
Yeah. John Edwards though, I mean, Red Bull dropped him, he came back to the States, he raced it in the Pro Mazda Championship, Star Mazda Championship. He missed the first race of the season, that was in 2008. He missed the first race, did a deal for the second race, won it, and then did a deal to continue the rest of the season, won the championship. Then they got the Mazda Road to Indy scholarship. It wasn't the Road to Indy back then, but that's what it's evolved into. Got a scholarship to move into Atlantic, won that championship as well. And since then he's had various opportunities now to move into the sports car ranks, initially with Mazda, and now he's got this opportunity with BMW. And John Edwards, he's another star in and out of the car. Very similar in many ways, I think, to Joey Hand when he started his career. Those two are really sharp guys, and John Edwards is very much in that mould of Joey Hand and Andy Lally and people like that. They're real stars of this sport.
It's been a great debut for the BMW Z4 as well. Remember when the M3 first came here, Jeremy, one of them didn't even get off the line the first year here. Obviously they went on to be tremendously competitive.
Won this race the last 2 years as well, BMW.
Well, had a cracking start to the season the last 2 years, haven't they? They've really set their stall out by getting the points on the board early. I'm sure they were expecting, clearly they weren't expecting to be awful impressed their expectations thus far. Let's find out what Joey Hahn thinks. He's down with Andrew Marriott.
Well, Joey, you got out of the car a few minutes ago, and it was a tough double stint with the double tyres. Don't you feel a bit beat up?
You know, I feel all right. I mean, a little bit. It was a long double and a half stint, but you know, it's already pretty racy. I think that's hopefully the fans at home and the fans here at Sebring are enjoying it, because this GT class, it always brings a race. You know, we have this Crown Plaza BMW Z4. It was running pretty good, and we did this second. We tried to double stint a set of tires and learned a lesson there. That wasn't the right thing to do. So, you know, otherwise the car's been pretty strong. I feel really good in the car, so they kept me in there.
Earlier on, Joey, you were in a big battle with a Ferrari.
Yeah, it was like a circa 2012 finish. You know, it felt like we were racing at the end there. Everybody was battling for position. It was dicey. It was a good show, but it wasn't. You know, we weren't going to tear anything up. You know, like Big Bob says, don't do anything stupid. We want to get this thing to that last hour, 2 hours, so we can go racing. Right now, you know, we have a car that's consistent. We don't have the pace. We definitely don't have the straight line speed. But if we just keep throwing down laps, stay out of trouble, we'll be good to go.
Joey looking for his third straight win here for BMW.
Big Bob is Bob Rahal, of course. And when Big Bob says jump, you say how high. Because you can't really argue against it. You know, he's the guy on the pit wall. But he knows exactly what it's like to be in the driving seat. Now there is the M3 from last year and the Z4 from this year. A little bit more engine, a little bit less revs, moving some of the weight forwards because it's a front-mounted gearbox and the tyre change to Michelin this year. Now, it's down to nothing at all at the head of the field. Ben Trellier and Luca Di Grassi are together. And in fact, Trellier's gone through there. That's the one in the lead, isn't it? Yes, it is. Wow. With the red air intakes and the red mirrors, for those of you trackside. And that was a big lead not so very long ago.
It wasn't. The last couple of laps by Luca Di Grassi have been pretty slow. He did at 1:52 last time, which is sort of regularly 4 or 5 seconds off what he was doing, but the previous lap was a 1:57. That's a long way off his regular pace.
Well, here's the pass for the lead first of all, as Di Grassi as Trellier had closed up to Di Grassi, goes up the inside into 10, relatively standard in terms of the pass. But as Jeremy says, Di Grassi had been slowed, and here's why. On board the number 2 Audi, coming up to the Viper, gets squeezed, puts himself in a bad position and runs straight on and has to recover. And that is how you lose, what, 6-7 seconds there, Jeremy, straight away.
Yeah, 10 seconds, and a great job there by the guys in the truck for finding that. Thank you very much indeed. I was wondering what it was, and that explains it right there. And of course, it's going to take him quite a bit of time to clean up those tyres and get up to pace, and that's exactly what we've seen for Luca Di Grassi. Wrong place, wrong time, I think he was there, wasn't he?
I think, yeah, I think he'll be saying something a little stronger than that. Trellier has already pulled out 1.3 seconds. Let's head down to the pits and Jamie.
And you saw it was Tommy Kindle in that number 93 SRT Viper that was the traffic in that P1 battle. I just spoke with Bill Riley. We saw the 93 back behind the wall repairing that left rear because of the metal shavings that came off. What's happening right now is we talk about how brutal the Sebring circuit is, and they're actually putting too much pressure. They're making the wheel pins work too hard. They're making the wheel pins work too hard. The 91, they're having the same problem right now. They might be battling up front in the GT category. However, they're going to have to come in and get these wheel pins fixed.
That's such a shame, because they've been having a cracking run in terms of the pace of the Viper. You can't say anything but praise for them at the moment, Jeremy. And if they're having some technical issues, that is such a shame for Ryan DL sitting in second position at the moment behind Jimmy Bruni.
Yeah, I think.
And as I say that, is that a slow Ferrari? There is the 62, right in the middle of the Michelin camera shots. No, he's fine.
Yeah, I think he must have just made his pit stop. He owed us a pit stop, and once again he went considerably longer than everybody else. The fact
he's just come out of the pits here. This looks like the 81 prototype, and just gives him a little ding on the right rear there, going on. And, oh, hello, ding dong. 81 calling twice there. That being the prototype challenge of the Dragon Speed car.
Back at the wheel now of the 62. He's just taken over from Jimmy Brune. You can see he did not make a good exit there onto the effectively back straight here, and Mirandiel able to make that pass pretty cleanly going into the kink. And then a couple of corners later, Beretta didn't really close the door on the PC car that was behind him.
Yeah, it was the Dragon Speed car with Patrick Simon. Green and white stripe racing helmet.
So it's been reset now and again in GT. This car back in the lead in GT. The Viper, number 91, Ryan Dalziel.
It would be such a shame, Jeremy, if their charge to the front of the field was hampered by that technical issue that the 93s had, the wheel pins, as Jamie was talking about there. But clearly, if there's any kind of safety considerations, they can't leave the guys out there. There is the differential between a top GT car and a P2 car. It's not that much, is it?
At the end of the straight, it isn't very much at all. You're right. The P2 punches off the corner. It's considerably lighter, so it's able to use its horsepower and get it down onto the road and leap, get a good leap off the corner. But by the end of the straightaway, yeah, the GT cars are pretty quick. So we've got that. So it's Dalziel now leads again in GT in the number 91 car. Beretta still second in the Risi Ferrari. Third place, and right on its a little way back now is John Edwards in the number 56 BMW. Nick Tandy, a magnificent fourth in GT in the Falcon Tires Porsche. Fifth place now is Bill Oberlin in the number 55 BMW. I think that Bill has fallen a lap off the pace in GT. No, he hasn't, but he's quite a long way back behind. He's about 35 seconds behind in fifth place in GT for Bill Oberlin, and second of the BMWs.
45 flying lizards for pit lane speeding. Brian Wong's going to get called in for a stop and go, and that is the third place car in GTC, Jeremy.
That's not good. We've had several penalties, haven't we, amongst the GTC contenders. Let's put them back a little bit. I saw also that he was in the pits a little while ago. 31 car, I think, was in the pits a little while ago. He was driving it. It's now, yeah, Kuba Giamasia made a pit stop in the number 31 car and handed back. He was running in second place, I believe. Now back to fourth with Carlos Gomez from Bogota, Colombia, at the wheel of that car. Carlos Gomez also racing in the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge by Yokohama this season.
Just 0.3 of a second at the head of the field. The two Audis are spicing up our vision again as they come to put another lap on Nicola Prost. He's just about 2 down now, and he's about to go 2 down to the two Audis, and Luca Di Grassi doesn't need to be held up here as he comes out of turn 4 into 5 and through into turn number 6, heading down towards the heavy braking area at the hairpin of turn 7. Just the opportunity that Ben Treluer needs. Is he lining up his teammate? No, he is not. 6 laps for the number 1 car before it comes into the pit lane.
It's the second place car in PC, the multi-blue coloured car, the celebrating the 500th anniversary of the state of Florida.
Looking from the number 1 towards the number 2, Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich will be thinking that was way too close, guys. We don't need any bills for bodywork damage here, particularly not self-inflicted. As Ben Treluer, you know, some shots you can barely see that second Audi is so close to his teammate. And by the way, a little quiet clap here for Bart Hayden and the Rebellion team, who are doing a very good job indeed. Nicola Prost, some minute and a half ahead of Romain Dumas in that battle that has been raging on all race between Muscle Milk and Rebellion Racing. And really, Nicola Prost not doing anything wrong there, but the Audi's not been able to easily drive past him other than on the start-finish line. That's really interesting there.
Yeah, it certainly is, isn't it?
Look at the pace of that Rebellion. That bodes well for later in the season.
It does, and Romain Dumas in the Muscle Milk car number 6. They've got their car back onto the lead lap now with the lead Rebellion car. They're up into second place. Matthias Bech back in third. They had a penalty a little while ago in the number 13 car. That's dropped them back to third place in the full season American Le Mans Series contenders. In the meantime, in P2, it's Guy Cosmo who leads for Extreme Speed Motorsport. What a wonderful debut for that team in the prototype ranks after that very late switch from GTs. I mean, they've really done a stellar job. And as I say that, Guy Cosmo brings, I believe, the number 01 car onto pit lane.
That is the leader in P2. Everybody just has to shift a gear in thinking, don't they, when you make a decision that's as complete as that. It's bad enough saying, oh, you know what we're going to do, we'll change the colour of the car, or we'll have a different set of wheels, or we'll do something a bit, bit radical on the car. No, we're going to change category. Let's head down to the pits then and see if we can pick up this pit stop from Guy Cosmo, P2 leader. And down in the ESM pits for us here is Andrew Marriott.
Routine stops here down with the 01 car. David Brabham just climbed aboard and Guy Cosmo got out of the car. I think I detected a little bit of a limp, maybe just got a little bit of cramp in his foot, but Guy been doing an excellent job. Of course, he hasn't been used to high downforce for a little while, and going to get a few words to him in a little bit, but there the car is now. It doesn't want to fire up. Yes, it does. And that's why I do this job. You hear that engine, that HPD engine just roaring away. It's a fantastic place to be.
So Trellier and Di Grassi just a second away. PC battle is going the way of Stefan Johansson at the moment. He's got about 1 minute and 30 seconds on the 500 car. This is the 8 and 900 we're talking about. It's going back a few moments ago. Watch the onboard number 1. Gets blocked by the Flying Lizard just a wee bit. Goes to the right hand side. Whoops, no. Already taken up by his teammate. This is how it looked from an external shot. Goes to move over, sees his teammate, has to lift off, loses lead. This is how it looked from Di Grassi's car. Oh, if I could just get myself here. Oh, big hole. Thank you, I'll take the lead. Bye-bye. Since then, it's swapped back around. So we've got Trellier leading then from Di Grassi, then Prost, Dumas, Bech, Hunter Ray leading P2
no
car.
big deal.
Yeah, it's changed back and forth several times in the last few laps, those two. Apparently.
You can't argue with Audi for letting the guys race. It would have been very easy to stick them into, team orders early on and just say, right, this is the times I want you to hit. Go around and do it, and stop with this overtaking each other, by the way.
Well, I thought they had done that, quite frankly, when we had that first full course caution, and one of the cars pitted and one of them didn't, and it seemed to me like a slightly odd call not to have pitted both cars at that stage, because they were well into a stint. They'd done 2/3 at least of a stint, so generally at that stage you would bring your cars in, but you're right, they've allowed them to get on with the battle, and we saw how close they came going into turn 17, about half an hour ago, when they actually made contact with each other. So they're racing hard apparently, and it's the number 1 car now of Benoit Trellier, the pole-sitting car. Marcel Fersler put that car on the pole, now is back in the lead of the race, well, very much however.
Oh, is why I love working in sports car racing. Joe Taylor has tweeted at Spectainment, do you know if the Z4 engine is a cross-plane crank like the GT3 car or a flat-plane crank like the M3 GTO? I don't, but we'll see if we can find out for you. It is the GT3 car that the Z4 here is built on, so I would presume they would have taken the engine and gearbox configuration from that as well, although as we've just seen from that graphic, the 4.4 V8 does have the gearbox grafted onto the engine, not the transaxle.
Box this lap, fuel only.
It's Lena Gade talking to Ben Trellier. Box, meaning that is the standard slang for pit.
That's
Come
right
into your box.
Right on schedule for car number 1, 23 laps once again since its last stop, and around about 40 minutes on track, 42 minutes or so on track.
Fuel only for the number 1 car.
Ben, box this lap, fuel only.
So now twice around the track, you'll probably hear it one more time. 3.3 seconds. Now the gap, Trellier to Di Grassi. Pedro Lamy is about to take 007 behind the wall. Continuing a less than storybook opening to the Aston Martin racing season. Cars have been going very well when they've been going, although their pit stops do seem to be taking a good 10 seconds more than their competitors, which one presumes is fuel flow. One of the things that is controlled by IMSA is the fuel flow from the tank, from the header tank to the fuel tank in the car. And the balance of performance, I did notice had been changed from last year. They been closed down a little bit when they were expecting it to go up. Into the pit lane comes first and second, both of the Audis coming down pit lane, and they're heading to their pits, and Andrew Marriott.
And as you throw to me, it stops right at my feet. As ever, this well-drilled Yost crew goes to work again. We have the man lying on the ground looking underneath, just checking out the underneath of the car. We've got the fuel going in. There's a set of tyres just for the left-hand side, I think, waiting ready. No, just to the left front waiting. I don't think they will fit that. They're cleaning those lights, and we're keeping the driver in. And of course we've got the number 2 cars come in at the same time, and the 1 car goes out, hardly makes a noise as it goes. The 2 car up on the jacks now. That is getting a set of fresh Michelin rubber, and that pit stop of course will take a little bit longer because of that. Probably about 10 seconds, and it whirs out that unusual noise of the diesel as it goes past me and back onto the racetrack. And well, I would say the race is very much still on between those 2 Audis. In a while I go and talk to Dr. Ulrich, find out if there's any team orders.
Interesting to me, I reckon the number 2 car was in a lap earlier than I would have anticipated. Maybe he was struggling, he had double stinted that set of tyres at Luca Di Grassi, so maybe they felt that they wanted to make that change and get the new tyres and the new driver in at the same time. But you know, we've seen certainly on the last round of pit stops, the last 2 rounds of pit stops, the number 2 car had been out 1 lap longer than the number 1. So this is just a 22-lap stint for the number 2 car, as opposed to a 23-lap stint for the number 1.
Nicola Prost in 3rd position has 1 minute and 25 on Dumas in 4th. That's 12 and 6. GT, it's Viper from Ferrari, from BMW, from Porsche, 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. GTC, well, that's a spec car, and that's Sean Edwards in the 30. Change of lead there, Jeremy. We've got the number 30 NGT, the Mobil Porsche, back in the lead with Sean Edwards. Dion van Monke in the 22 WeatherTech Alex Job Racing Porsche now in second by 14 seconds. Another 15 seconds further back, the number 10, the second of the Dempsey Del Piero cars with Andrew Davis at the wheel.
Yeah, he's been doing some stellar work this week, has Andrew Davis, in that number 10 car. Got it up into contention now, potentially a podium place. The second of the NGT cars, number 31 car, Carlos Gomez driving that. He's back in 4th, and Brian Wong is driving number 45 Flying Lizard Porsche, and they're all fairly equidistant. I guess Wong's a little bit farther back, but the top 4 are each separated by about 14 or 15 seconds. Then Craig Stanton, often known as the fittest man in motor racing, is running in 6th place in number 66 car. That's one of the TRG cars. The 68 has lost some ground though. Kevin Escher's back at the lead of that car now, but it's a lap off the overall pace in GTC. Number 11 car, that has been running strongly all the way through the race. John Fogarty is driving that car. That's somehow slipped back to 7th place in GTC. Number 11 JD Extra Gold car, having run in the top 2 or 3 all the way through the opening stages. Yeah, I don't know how that's. They must have had some sort of a snafu at some stage, because they've got 3 very, very quick drivers in that car. Arguably the fastest trio out there. But certainly 3 very good drivers in Jan Halen and John Fogarty, and then the third driver in that number 11 car is Mike Headland, who's the amateur driver, but he's done quite a lot of driving over the last couple of years and now set for a full season in the GTC class of the American Le Mans Series.
GT leader about to come in. This will be the Viper. It'll be full service for them at the end of their lap 153. Should mean that Olivier Beretta will go back through and take the lead, Jeremy, because he won't be in for a few laps if you know anything about the fuel consumption of a Ferrari.
So who's that coming into pits?
91.
Oh, is he?
Yes. Ooh, Treluar
shouldn't be in.
Threading the needle.
91 car shouldn't be in. It was in only half an hour ago.
Oh, I'll keep an eye on that. Beretta leads, DL leads Beretta by only about 3 seconds at the moment. Well, here at Sebring, and aside from some of the coolest cars around, the American Le Mans Series takes pride in the fact that technology does transfer down from race cars to your street cars. The information uncovered through racing makes its way to the average consumer. Here's Justin Bell to take another look at another example.
You often hear us talk about the transfer of technology from racing to road cars, but it's not always about what you can see, it's as much about what you can't see. Take this for example, a modern 6-speed racing gearbox capable of shifts in excess of 40 milliseconds. Now, obviously that creates a lot of heat and energy. So, to combat those demands, in a unique technology partnership with the folks over at Mobil 1, they've created special oils. So how do they do that? Well, with the engineers need the oil on the way in the car, but the Mobil 1 engineers need it afterwards. So they take a sample, take it back to their labs, and improve it for future races. So you could say, up and down the pit lane, the benefits of sports car racing here at Sebring are felt long after the race wraps.
There was a point there when I thought Justin was going to drink that gear oil when he picked it up. Now, that is the 4th place PC car. Alex Papo brought the car into the pit lane. This is the number 9. The RSR racing machine.
Excuse me, the number 8 car, the Bar 1 car, that was in last lap as well, out of the lead in PC. Stephanie Johansson, I think, is still at the wheel of the number 8.
Let's go down to Andrew Murray to bring us up to date on the pit stop.
Yeah, the 9 car has just roared back on fresh Continental tyres. Remember this category now running on the Continentals. They seem to be working very well. And the 8 car has pitted and then it's just gone out again, and he is on sticker tyres, I can see as well. And the 13 has just made a pit stop. All of a sudden, it's a busy place down here in the pit lane, and that PC battle, I think, is going to continue for a long, long time yet.
Well, the thing about that, Andrew, thank you, is that, of course, it is spec class with a spec tyre with the same amount of fuel. So once you get on the same strategy, you will be coming in at roughly the same time. It's not been a clean race, as you can see. Look at that there. You can see some racer tape on the left front wing of Alex Popper's RSR Racing PC car, holding down those louvres. Now, you're not allowed to lose any of those louvres, and that's why they have been using the racer tape to keep it down. In from third place, and the best of the ALMS runners, Nicola Prost in the pit lane.
It was a quick stop for Rebellion Racing. Nicola Prost stayed behind the wheel of the car. It was fuel only. He is double stinting the tires, so Rebellion pretty happy with their tire setup as this race has gone on. That was one thing that they struggled with earlier in the week. They actually at one point abandoned everything they had done, took the setup from their sister car, the number 13, put it on theirs, and then began fine-tuning. So even in the heat of the day, they're being able to double stint tires. They've certainly found something with that Toyota Lola.
It's interesting. Not the only team to do that. The level 5 guys had the same issue. Got one car going very well on the other side of the awning. The other one had to use their settings. Leader in the PC category now, although owing us a pit stop, David Ennemeyer Hansen. Has he never been out of that car? It seems every time I've looked, it's been in the number 500. Clearly he's had to have been. But there he is in that very, very distinctive car that celebrates the 500th anniversary of the founding of the state of Florida. Visit Florida supporting that car. And David Ennemeyer Hansen has been a bit of a star himself. He's quite impressed me with the way he's gone motor racing.
Yeah, very much so. He came... oh no.
Oh no, this is the 01. This is second place. That's David Brabham's helmet, isn't it?
He was leading up until fairly recently.
Hunter Ray has gone through and reclaimed the lead for the 552. And David Brabham, back in the American Le Mans Series, the man who has the fabulous record of taking a pole position in... And wins, yes, in every one of the 4 original classes. Brabs is going to struggle to get that car back.
Any suggestions? Well, you're in gear. You can try second gear. Is the engine still running? Fine. No, all gears don't work.
David's going to try and get it off the track, I think. At this point, that's going to be a full course caution, Jeremy, without doubt at all.
10-4. Don't think there's much we can try.
Recycle everything, pull all the fuses, stick them back in again. Not the first time we've seen electrical problems today. Does seem, for a change, Jeremy, that 1 or 2 electrical gremlins have been rearing their ugly little heads. It's quite a dangerous position, actually, that car's come to a halt. Vigorous waving of yellow flag from the marshal in the background, doing a great job.
Yeah.
Full course caution number 3 coming out with 5.5 hours gone. And on lap number 169 for the leader. Not sure this helps anybody, because we've just gone through relatively recently, Jeremy, a whole host of pit stops. The GTs, maybe. Now, Andrew Marriott is down at the ESM pit. Andrew?
Yeah, I just spoke to Steve Bunkle. You've seen the back of his head, the engineer on this car, and they're not sure exactly what the problem is. If he can refire it, and obviously going through a sequence to try and refire it, they will take it right back behind the wall immediately. But this is obviously a major problem for this Patron car.
Already, sorry, Jeremy.
No, so there's Tony Leith there as well, with Steve Blanco behind Tony Leith on this side. Tony is the crew chief there, the team manager at Extreme Speed Motorsports, came across from Fernandez Racing. Vast amount of experience before that in the Champ Car Series and Indy Cars and all sorts of things. But a very good team there. They've done a super job first time out with this car, having had hardly any preparation time at all. And a big disappointment for them, because they were leading the class up until David made that pit stop, about 7 or 8 laps ago, relinquished the lead in the class, but certainly a super run for Extreme Speed Motorsports.
Yeah, and we should say, of course, that it's easy to make the mistake, but that's not the Highcroft car that had that sponsorship on and looked similar to that a few years ago. It's not the Highcroft team running it. Scott Sharp and Ed Brown forming Extreme Speed Motorsports to race the Ferraris, 3 seasons ago now, and forming their own race team. So they haven't had that prototype experience, and you kind of forget that, because it does look so similar to the cars that were in the American Le Mans Series a few years ago. So the cars will come under the control of the Corvette safety car. As in the bottom of the picture there, in fact just to the left of that camera shot, we can see the Dodge Ram pulling back the HPD back into pit lane. Couldn't have been further away. It was right on the far side of the circuit. And there's not many hills to coast down at this part of the world. Not on an airfield. As David Brabham comes home on the end of the tour rope. Okay, Mr. Shaw, you're the team manager. Who's pitting?
Who's pitting? Good question. Probably not
the leading pair.
I don't think either leading pair should be expected in. They were in only 12-15 minutes or so ago, so I don't expect to see them on pit lane. I think actually, not sure when the number 6 car last pitted, but they might. This might be very good timing for them, because I think they were due for a pit stop in any case, and they're now back on the lead lap in terms of the ALMS contenders. Number 6, along with Nicola Prost in number 12, which was on pit lane a little while ago. So this will give the Muscle Milk team an opportunity to make this pit stop and remain on the lead lap. So a good break certainly for car number 6.
Only 2 laps between the Audi and the 2 Audis and the number 12 of Nicola Prost, so they won't want to give that car a lap back if they were to dive in the pits, because clearly Bart Hayden would leave Prost out there to get one of the laps back. So that's I don't think is an option at the moment if Audi want to keep that gap between themselves and the rest of the field. And if they don't need to pit, then they don't need to pit.
No, they've only done the last pit stop for the overall leader was on lap 164, so he's only done 5 or 6 laps since the pit stop. So yeah, no need to come in for them. I think Romain Dumas though in car number 6, I reckon. Yeah, he was due a pit stop any time now, so I think this is pretty good timing for him. It will though lose him a lot of track time, because he'll go to the back of the pack. Right now he's only, when we went to the full course caution, he was only 7 seconds or so behind the car of Nicola Prost. So now he'll lose a lot of track position, but at least he's back on the same strategy in terms of being able to run a full stint and make that pit stop under caution.
So there, the safety car bringing them around. That is still a great view. Quite a lot of the support series, of course, have packed up and left, so the paddock looking a little less full than it was earlier in the week as far as the race transporters on the right-hand side are concerned. So we have 6 hours and 20 minutes, a little over that, left to run here at the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by fresh from Florida. We've been seeing, haven't we, all the way through this race broadcast, just what an important part of the event and the atmosphere the fans are. Well, who better to sample that atmosphere than our very own Justin Bell, and we sent him out to do just that.
Well, hello everyone. Yes, it is that time again. Justin meets the fans. And I asked my Twitter followers what they wanted to know from the infamous fans here at Sebring. And this is, oh bugger, this is what they came up with. So, should beer be considered a food group?
Yes, absolutely. Beer is the only food group.
It's because it's got carbohydrates and base minerals, important minerals that you need.
You have to take a look at. There's no words for this. That is one of the most beautiful tattoos I've ever seen, and it really does look, with that girl on top of the brain, like the inside of a racing driver's mind.
It is. We've always got it on the mind.
Perfect.
Yes.
Hello to the guys at Turn 10 who are an integral part of what goes on here, and if you haven't seen the Turn 10 documentary, go and search for it on YouTube. It is a fine piece of work. Always worth a rundown. Sadly, seldom seem to get the chance to get out much further than the edge of the paddock. Although I did enjoy the walk down the grid earlier on in the pre-race build-up, and thank you to Misty Dreyfus who talked me through all that, who worked together with for a wee while now, not for 4 or 5 years now, and it is Misty's final race for the American Le Mans Series. She's moving on to bigger and better things. There's the old track on the outside there. Just saw the yellow line. That is where it used to go. Look how close it was to the road as well. If you missed your braking point there, you really did have to pay to get back in because you were out onto the side road. Yeah, I had a great time wandering up and down the pits, and thank you to everybody who said hello, took some photographs, and was kind enough to pass on best wishes to Jeremy and Jeremy and me. Emergency service is something that is available to the American Le Mans Series under these pits closed conditions. Andrew Marriott explains.
That emergency with the 552 was the fact it was running on the fumes in the tank, so they just had to put some fuel in. If they hadn't have done that, it would have stopped halfway around the racetrack. So that will come back in again. Everyone waiting here. Marino Franchitti, we talked to him earlier. We thought he was going to get in the car, but in fact he had to hang on for another stint, so he's finally going to get into the car. He's waiting ready here. I think Hunter Ray is going to continue. So anticipation's the word down here at the moment.
Thanks, Andrew. Just 5 seconds of fuel allowed then for the 552. There are the water features that Justin was messing about in earlier on. He calls that work, you know.
He's got a nerve, hasn't he?
Hello to Sarah and the family. I'm sure you're watching over there in LA. And the penalty, as the pits are open for prototypes now, the penalty for that emergency service, you can only take 5 seconds of fuel, and then you must come back in on the third lap of the pits being opened. That's the leader in PC, the Continental Tires PC category. He has just given up that lead. Jamie.
This is a perfectly normal fuel-only pit stop. It looks like it might be, though they do have new Continental tires out and ready. The team checking them right now. David Heinemeier-Hansen, though, will stay behind the wheel of the car, and he has been so impressed with Performance Tech Motorsports. This is a team that we're used to seeing run the number 18, but since they're running that Visit Florida sponsorship on it this weekend, it's the 500th anniversary of the state of Florida, so the IMSA let them switch that number, and they are going to take new Continental tires. It's been a busy weekend for this team, who's owned and managed by Brent O'Neill, and the crew chief is Frank Forschek. The engineer, Ty Shaman. They're running 6 cars in IMSA lights as well, so busy weekend, but great running today.
Down at the number 1 car. Do you remember earlier on we said we thought we saw a little vibration underneath the car? Well, there's a mechanic underneath the front of that number 1 at the moment having a look at the skid plate. And they're doing a bit of measurement. They've got the whole of the nose cone off the front of that car. We certainly, Jeremy, did see that little bit of aerodynamic whiffling that was going on underneath.
Yeah,
that is the technical term, by the way.
Yeah, and you know, they're taking the opportunity to make this pit stop and have a good check over, because they certainly really didn't need a pit stop. I wasn't expecting them on pit lane, so this is not a scheduled stop, but it is a good opportunity to check to see if anything really is wrong.
Now, this was when Misty's braking point earlier on, and do you remember when he lost all that? That's the 2 car. That is the number 2 car, of course. But the number 1 car has also missed a braking point going down into the hairpin. We've seen both of the Audis do it and run a little bit wide and wild. number 1 car with the red edges around the LED lights, the ultra light technology, pun completely intended. And that quieter of the 2 e-tron R18 Quattros back out onto the circuit. Yes, we noticed, didn't we, a couple of front-on shots where the front end was showing a little bit of vibration underneath. So let's hope they've got that in balance. So the way things happen here in the American Le Mans Series, we open the pits for the prototypes first, then for the GT cars, and then for anyone else who wants to go in. And that includes anyone who's had to have emergency service before the pits were fully opened. So Sean Edwards leading GTC. Leader in class, right up behind the safety car. Will get the opportunity first of the GT runners to decide if he wants to come into the pits. Dion van Molke in the 22 WeatherTech Alex Job racing car is in second, with the 31 NGT car in third position.
7 cars still on the lead lap in GTC, so that battle is...
And remarkably little attrition in terms of cars falling out. It's almost half distance here, Jeremy.
Yeah, we've got a couple of cars in the garage area. The Guy Smith number 16 Dyson racing car is still in the garage area for a very long stop. And the 007 Aston Martin also in the garage area. The only car that's officially out is a number 0 Delta Wing.
Vipers have come in along with the rest of the GT field, and Jamie Howe is with them.
And the Viper team, the number 91 car, they have it easy because nobody's in pit lane around them. You guys talk about all the cars coming at once. As I mentioned earlier, pit lane, each pit stall is 3 feet shorter than what the teams are used to. Only 25 feet allotted per car. So pit work and the drivers hitting those marks is very important. It's exactly what happened here. Mark Goosen's now behind the wheel. Andrew?
Well, the racing car... Did you hear that? That actually shook me as that car went out. The team applauded themselves with a good pit stop there. And I was just in Audi as that car started to come in. I just talked to H. Houghton, who's a famous engineer at Audi. He said, we just had a bit of time, nothing to worry about. We're just looking under the car at something, but we have nothing to worry about at all.
Howden. H. 30 cars beating the 22, I think.
That was the order that came in,
yes, it was. Yes, it was. So that is order retained. Well, there'll be a little while before we go back to green flag racing, so you're not going to miss any of the action, but don't go away. We'll be back with more from Sebring in a very short time indeed.
Prototype cars next to GT cars. 30, 35 cars, all different speeds.
We are racing! Colin Brown back to the lead! It's now or never for Lucas Law, and it's now! The white flag is flying!
Nice job, buddy. Awesome job!
This is the American Le Mans Series.
When it comes to fun family getaways, it's got to be Holiday Inn Club Vacations. Room to be yourself.
Everything we ever thought up. Everything we fight for. Everything we dream of. Everything we are. The 911. Porsche identity.
Southern California.
known for its movie stars, sandy beaches, and heavy traffic. On April 20th, the American Le Mans Series, presented by Tequila Patron, will bring traffic of its own to the streets of Long Beach. 5 different classes of cars will race wheel-to-wheel, reaching speeds of up to 140 miles an hour. Be sure to catch the race live April 20th on ESPN3 and April 21st on ABC.
Let's rattle through some of the Twitter comments coming into us here at Specutainment and at Jeremy Shaw Racer. Why do some teams say box instead of pit, says Brian? Because there's a box painted on the ground, basically. It means the same thing though, pit box. It's a short way of saying pit box. A lot of the foreign teams would say box to drivers who weren't sure perhaps what the English for pit was. Andreas says, why aren't the Audis using their electric motor in the pits as they could save fuel? They're not allowed to, because as per WEC and ACO rules, because that makes it a 4-wheel drive car, you're not allowed to apply the harvested energy under 120 kilometers an hour. Kevin Ernst says, which engine has the Delta Wing? Is it the 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged? Yes, it is. It's an engine that has been designed and built by Elan based on the architecture of the Mazda MZR block with the Mazda N single turbocharger of that. And Clive Lomax says, hello Specutainment, what do the feathers on Christensen's helmet represent? Originally there weren't feathers, they were just coloured bars, but they've evolved into feathers, and in fact now they all have the names of his children on them. That's how that has evolved down through the years. But great to see that he's held on to the same helmet colours throughout his career, not the 50 of Sebastian Vettel has had up to date or so. Transmission failure is the cause of the problems on the 01. Then we saw David Brabham being dragged back into the paddock area. That looks like that one may be a retirement. Maybe I spoke a little bit too early before when I said there hadn't been too many cars with issues at the back of the field. If you want to get in touch with us here in the booth, at Jeremy Shaw Racer or at Specutainment, and thanks for all of the questions and comments. You're keeping me very much entertained when I can tear myself away from the action on the screen. I know a lot of you are watching us on the Snoop Cam as well. Hello to you. Jeremy waving as well. He loves it. That's the best part of coming to work as far as Jeremy's concerned. Hey look, you've got a Snoop Cam on your dog Riley, so there's no reason why he can't be watching you while he's in, what is it, Wags and Wiggles he's at the moment?
Absolutely, loving every second, I'm sure. It's been spoiled rotten.
Nicola Prost in 3rd place overall, still just a couple of laps away from the Audis, ready to pounce if there's any issues. My goodness me, that would be a turn up for the books if it wasn't an Audi on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, but this has certainly put the HBD car, the number 6, the muscle milk machine, right back on terms with the number 12 Rebellion cars. We're getting ready to go back to green, and once we do
green.
the order in GT and GTC. John?
Across the line then, Tom Christensen is back behind the wheel with the 3 feathers on the side of his helmet of the number 2 car. He was the starting driver, of course, and off into the distance. He's got 7.5 seconds on Ben Trelliway, the lead driver or the starting driver for the number 1 Audi as well. So we've cycled through all of the drivers. There is the number 6, the Muscle Milk, going through that in turn number 3.
And here come the GT leaders. Yes, it's a Ferrari out in front, the number 62, but in 2nd place, look at that, the number 17 Falcon Tyres, Porsche. The main reason for the number 62 car taking the lead here is because he needed a little bit less fuel than the other guys, so that enabled him to lead to the front. And also, I guess the same should be said also for the number 17 Porsche. The BMW in 3rd place. In 4th place now is Mark Goose. No, Richard Westbrook. Yes, so that Corvette now right back in the thick of the action. And Mark Goosens, he was the big loser there, the number 91 car. He's taken over the wheel from Ryan Biel and falls from 1st to 5th.
So how important was that really mature and sensible drive then by Tom Milner, and him getting back past the Viper to get back on the lead lap? All of a sudden, he's jumped up from 7th position as he was, or his car has, up to 4th position. Should mention Nick Tandy as well, the newest of the Porsche Works drivers in the Team Faulted Tyres car. He's had a great career on the other side of the Atlantic and in Europe. Problems for the 81. It's been a troubled day for that 81 car. Pierre Caffer again looked like he had rear suspension problems on the left-hand side. Meantime, let's head down to Tommy Miller and hear what he thinks about his race so far.
And it was Tommy Milner who handed over to Richard Westbrook. And Tommy, early on in this race, you guys had a little electrical problem with that Ford car, a little electrical fire in the cockpit, but everything up to stuff now.
Yeah, car's good now. We just had one of our warning lights basically shorted out. The guys cut it out in one of the last pit stops there. Car's running great. There's no more issues from that. So,
and you guys were a lap and a half down at that point.
Correct, lap and a half down, and we got part of that lap back just on pace alone there. I was stuck behind the Viper. The Viper's quick for sure, but the guys at Corvette Racing made a great pit call. They got me in early, put me on new tires. I was able to get ahead of them with the pit stop sequence. And a lucky yellow for sure, and here we are about 6 hours to go in the race now, and we're back on the lead lap, sitting 4th or 5th.
Now we are starting to get to these evening hours, and the temperature's going to start coming down. What are we going to start seeing?
More racing, more door banging, definitely for sure. I mean, right now guys are definitely being careful. I was being a little aggressive out there. I wanted to get my lap back. I knew that if we could get ahead of the Viper, that would definitely be a huge help to us to get back on that lead lap, and that yellow came just at the right time. So far we've had some bad luck and some good luck, and hopefully we can just go on from here, just have a smooth race, and I think we'll be in it at the end.
Yeah, guys, and as the sun starts to set, it darkens up here. That's when that radar system in that Corvette is really going to help out those drivers.
Yeah, we'll show you that in a minute or two. Westbrook, Goossens and Oberlin are absolutely together on the circuit. 4th, 5th and 6th. Meantime, the battle for the best of the ALMS cars between Klaus Graf and Nicola Prost. Well, Nicola Prost in the 12, the black, red and gold of Rebellion. These are the guys who were expecting to be battling for the overall American Le Mans Series title this year, and here comes the Audi to get in between them, and that's not the worst thing that can happen as far as Nicola Prost is concerned, because he's now got a backstop between himself and Klaus Graf as they go through turn number 1, but he's got to at some stage let that Audi go without letting the car behind sneak through at the same time.
Yes, that's exactly right, and certainly the Muscle guys have done a super job to get back on terms at that pit stop, which came at a very opportune time for them. Romain Dumas got out of the car, Klaus Graf got back in, and now Klaus is closing down on Nicola Prost.
Yes, don't forget that the Muscle Milk car lost a lot of time with their lost wheel when the left front wheel came adrift straight after a pit stop. Lucas Lowe was at the wheel then, and he had to find his way back to the pits on 3 wheels.
It cost him well over a lap, certainly.
Now here is that battle, freed from the attentions of the Audi in the Lola Coupe with the Rebellion Toyota engine.
The glance in his mirrors there from Nicola Prost, great on-board shot here, super clear.
And who does he looks like across the eyes there?
Yeah, well, the nose in particular, his famous father, Alain Prost.
I've been impressed with I've been impressed with Nico since he came into sports car racing a few years ago. It looked like he wasn't going to get it. Took him a wee while, probably half a season, maybe a little bit more. But I think probably the end of the season before last or the beginning of last season all seemed to come together for him and start to click. And I don't know what it is. That happens with a lot of drivers in sports car racing. You'll have seen it as well, Jeremy. Clearly talented single-seater open wheel type drivers who either jump in and get it straight away, or sometimes they never do. But there are some people in the middle who work at it, and Nico Prost was one of those.
Definitely, he certainly didn't have a stellar career in open wheel cars, but since moving over to the sports car, I think he's found a niche for himself. You're right, and some people do tend to excel more in sports cars than they do in open wheel cars. And perhaps Nicola is one of those, but certainly he's done a good job. Now he and Neil Gianni, of course, they won the Petit Le Mans at the end of last season, and they're trying to make it to maximum points again for the second American Le Mans Series race. It's a battle for 3rd overall right now, but this is what we're looking at for the entire season right here on the racetrack right now.
And don't forget prototypes will be racing in the WEC. The ELMS have the P2s, not the P1s. But around about a month's time, we'll be at Silverstone to cover that. Mouth-watering prospects for the rest of the ELMS season between this lot. Kelly has more.
Even though we're watching the 3rd and 4th place cars overall do battle, let's remember how important this is for the season-long implications. Dyson is now retired. They haven't met the 70% completion to get any points at all out of Sebring here, which is going to be devastating on their championship hopes throughout the season. And now we see that Rebellion car and the Muscle Milk Honda doing great battle here. This is going to be important. Now we've reached the halfway point of this race, and we said it, championship won't be won here, but the points they'll take away from this 12-hour race will be crucial for those championship hopes.
Well, it can't be won here, Jeremy, but it can almost be lost here because it's nigh on impossible with such a small field in the P1 to gain back those points that Dyson are going to lose. There's got to be multiple DNFs for these cars and multiple non-scores.
That's exactly what happened 2 years ago in 2011. The Muscle Milk car did not finish here at Sebring and never made up that ground. The Dyson team went on to win that championship. Muscle Milk won more races. They won 4 races to the 3 of Dyson, and they were regularly quicker than the Dyson car, but they couldn't make up that deficit.
And we should explain that there are extra points on offer here because it's a longer race, and that's why that situation exists. Back in GT, 2nd place now. This is Nick Tandy, and he is battling the BMW of Jonathan Edwards. Olivier Beretta is about 2.5 seconds further up the field. Whoa, there's the pass for 3rd place. And Nico Prost gives best to Klaus Graf. Klaus has made that position and now has top points of the American Le Mans Series runners. Let's take a look at it again, Jeremy. Looked like a pretty standard pass again. Good driving by both of the drivers. Feinting one way and then diving to the inside. Once again, it looks like down at Turns Head.
Yeah, it came from a long way back there. Actually, he was a good. I wouldn't have thought he was close enough there, but Nicola Prost kept the door, left the door open, and Klaus just stuffed it down to the inside. He carried a bit too much speed at the apex of the corner, but by that point it was job done because he was clearly alongside. A very incisive pass from Klaus Graf. Great move. Just looking at the lap times, relative lap times of those cars, the Muscle Milk car, its best lap in this race so far is a 1 minute 48.1. The best lap by the number 12 car is 1:49.1. So the HPD has got a second in hand in ultimate lap time, at least in this stage in the race.
Now here's the GT 2nd place battle. And still Nick Tandy holding on from the BMW. This is a great run in GTC. Guess what? This is the battle for the lead. The 11 car, you suggested that car had dropped away a little too much, Jeremy. It must have been on the wrong end of a pit stop cycle. And so John Fogarty leads from in 2nd place, the number 31. That's the younger farmbacker in that car, isn't it? Mario Farmbacker. 31 NGT Motorsport car, and behind them is Alex Imperatori in the Flying Lizards 44. Let's get back to GT action. And before you ask, all but one of those cars are in the battle. The middle Porsche in there is Ricard Leitz, a very quick factory driver, but he is actually in 8th position, whereas the rest of the cars are 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. So Ricard tried to stay out of the way without ruining his own race.
Yeah, he's a couple of laps down in the overall order, but that car was running beautifully earlier on and was up amongst the top 2 or 3.
Yeah, it was certainly in the top 5 for quite a while.
More than that.
And
Marco Holzer ended up into 2nd place.
He did, actually, you're right, well remembered. And that's a real encouragement for that team. Because they've been seen, I think, a little bit as the poor relations. They've changed tyre manufacturers 3 times in 3 years. Now they've got onto the Michelins. They seem to have got the car balanced. Clearly, the Porsche is almost the gold standard of getting turn on, drive, go and race. So that is, that's a known quantity, isn't it? So Well done to those guys for plugging away.
Yeah, they've worked so hard, that team. I mean, they really have put their heart and soul into this. They haven't got discouraged by the fact they've had a couple of disappointing years, but now you know, they've had a couple of years to work on the car with the team and with the drivers, and now it's an opportunity to go for it. They know they've got tyres that are competitive with everybody else, and they can get the job done, and that's exactly what they've done. Certainly in the early stage of this race, they've fallen back a bit with a gremlin of some sort, but that car is running very competitively.
And the BMW has gone through and taken second position. Nick Tandy back down into third position. And now Nick Tandy is under pressure from Richard Westbrook. So Edwards through on Nick Tandy. So it's Beretta from Edwards in the 56 BMW, from Nick Tandy, from Richard Westbrook, from Mark Goosens. That's your top 5 in GT.
Yeah, Westy already putting a bit of ground. Well, John Edwards putting a bit of ground between himself and Nick Tandy.
As Westbrook, yeah, to drivers right into turn number 1. How hard can Nick Tandy defend? How late can he be on the brakes? Is it enough? I don't think it is. Westbrook does it the long way around, goes Buffalo Gals round the outside and goes up into third place. That's good stuff. And you know what? Clearly Nick realises he hasn't quite got the car underneath him at the moment, Jeremy, but he's not just giving up, but by the same token he's not being stupid either. He's making it difficult. He made Westy go around the outside there, but not in a dangerous way.
Absolutely right, and you know, it's his first experience with these Falcon tyres, which are quite different to anything he's driven in Europe before.
Looking forward from the Mark Goosens Viper, you want to get by Ricard Leitz as quickly as possible.
We'll find that easier said than done.
Down, yes. Well, Ricard Leitz doesn't want to ease his ease his pace.
No, 2 factory Porsche drivers in the cars directly in front now of the number 91 car of Mark Goosens. One of the Audis comes flying past there. Boy, the speed at which they go past in the braking area is quite astonishing. Leitz keeps out of the way. He's been a factory driver for a long time. Nick Tandy, the winner of the Falcon Porsche, he's the newest Porsche factory driver, having excelled in Porsches in the privateer teams for the last 3 or 4 years since making the switch from Mobil racing.
Yeah, and it's a very small and select band, that, isn't it? What is it, 10 drivers now, or 9?
Yes.
Richard Westbrook actually was there for just, I think, a year or 2, and then he was the first out after being the last in.
Yeah, Nick Tandy, aside from being a factory driver for Porsche, he also runs a couple of teams in open wheel competition, runs cars in Formula Ford and in Formula 3. I think he's running the German Formula 3 Championship this year as well.
Tom Christensen by 5 seconds at the head of the field. You should just see his teammate Ben Trelliway come through. Well, not quite.